And do I mean freaks? A prune freak, a big boy freak, a rat face freak, an eyebrow freak, a dick freak, an itchy freak, a flat top freak, a mumbling freak, a no face freak, a breathless freak. All the freaks are here. So gather around the Dick Radio watch. Dick Radio watch. There was a line break because it's Dick time on. Hey, did you see this one? And welcome to Hey, did you see this one? The weekly movie roundtable review and reaction podcast where we just have to ask the question, hey, did you see this one? On this show, we take a movie, we pull it apart, and we leave no stone unturned. And I, as always, am your first co-host, Dick R. Phillips, joined as always by Stephen Bubba Blackfly Waters. And before we get into it, I have to.
You should have made your name Jason R. Dick Lips. That would have been funny.
No, I don't want that to be in people's minds. That's fun, though. Before we move forward, though, last week I did forget to play this video for somebody. I just wanted to play it now at the top of the show for 205.
Hey, Jason and Steve. I'm under a bridge right now. But it just occurred to me that you guys are going to do 205th episode of the podcast. So, I just want to let you guys know that I'm proud of you. And I know it's just going to be an all-timer. Love you guys.
And of course, it was an all-timer. We started Noirvember. We're continuing Noirvember. It is episode 206 this week, and we are talking about Dick Tracy. Now, I'd like to welcome back to the show. He was here last for another classic noir style movie, I guess, kind of. Sure. A little bit. Please welcome back to the show, Graham Pass. Welcome
Hello.
Back.
Thank you very much. The training wheel, the Jenny Johnson training wheels are off now, baby.
Sure, you don't have her to help you out this time. So I wanted to have you back on the show for something. I figured we are similar age. We grew up with this movie, probably played with the action figures, that kind of stuff. So I figured this would be a good one to talk about. Next time, you'll get to pick the movie. I know I tell that to everybody, and they rarely actually do.
Well, we already know what it's going to be. You just have to fit a theme around it.
What was it again?
Rathacon. Rathacon.
Well, we'll do Star Trek month.
Yeah,
the big book of Star Trek.
I'll do Wrath of Khan, and Jenny can do all the other ones.
Yeah,
part of the United Federation of Podcasts. I'm sure we can fill a month of Star Trek movies.
No doubt.
True. Great. So let's do a little bit of a synopsis here.
And I can't remember what to do. Oh yeah.
Zardoz speaks to you. He demands you synopsize this film. Tell him how, why, who, what occurs in this film.
Wow.
That's sort of how you do it. Let's see. Let me take a crack at this. Dick Tracy is a private detective sort of guy, and he lives in a city. I think it's supposed to be New York, and he is up against a crime boss named Big Boy Caprice, played by Al Pacino. And basically, Big Boy Caprice wants to take out Dick Tracy, but he can't kill him, so he has to find a clever way to take him out. And through the process of the movie, they are at odds. He meets up with Breathless Malone, played by Madonna. She's trying to seduce him, but he's got this other wife with this other girlfriend, soon to be fiance, named Tess, who he loves very much. So there's a bit of a love triangle going on. And then there's the kid, Run Home Jack from from Hook. Is in this movie as a character called Kid, who is being forced. He's off the streets, going to go to the orphanage. So Dick Tracy is also trying to figure out if he should maybe adopt him. I don't know. He kind of gets pushed to the wayside, but he also becomes sort of a de facto sidekick. Anyway, all of that's going down. And finally, a new villain comes on the scene and sets up Dick Tracy to make it seem like he has killed the DA, who, by the way, is in the pocket of Big Boy. And it all comes to a head at the end when it's
Who
revealed.
is also played by Dick Van Dyke.
Dick Van Dyke. Oh, that's why I recognized him. I'm like, why does this guy look so... Yes, Dick Van Dyke is the DA. Dick
Lots of big
Van...
hitters.
Yes.
Lots of Dick in this movie.
Your
It's
name's
Dick
Dick.
time.
My name's Dick too. Wait, not my character though.
Anyway, it all comes to it.
Dick 4.
It all comes to head when it's revealed that the faceless man is actually Breathless Malone, who has been playing the strings for the whole time, but she dies in a vicious shootout, and Dick rides into the sunset with Tess and Kid, and everybody goes home confused, I think.
Yes, that's the movie.
It's the only way it could end.
Yeah, it really is. Also, it reminded me a lot of Batman 89 with Danny Elfman doing the score. And it also reminded me 2 years before Batman Returns would come out, had a very similar like villain. Al Pacino's Big Boy Caprice and the Penguin. Fucking wow.
Mob boss.
But anyway, I digress. We can probably go into our brief histories.
A brief history.
That's right. This is the segment of the show where we crack a beer and talk about our history with this movie. This week, since you're back and you're better than ever, Graham, why don't you tell us about your brief history with this film?
I have a memory of seeing this in the theater. I asked my father, I'm pretty sure you took me to this. Did we go see Dick Tracy? And he said, no, I don't think so. So maybe my mother took me. Maybe I was an orphan boy and I went by myself. But I specifically do remember seeing it in theater, and probably not since. There are a lot of things that are familiar about it. I think some through parody from other things. But the whole thing's pretty memorable given its production design and stuff. I mean, Jason and I would have been about, what was this, 1990? So we were like 7, 8 years old.
I was 5.
Yeah.
I was probably still shitting my pants when this came out. I was a baby, by the way. I'm a Benjamin Button baby, so I was an old man.
No, Steven is actually it's actually 65 now. Then
they call me baby face.
You got to be a face. Yeah. And anyway, it was a long time since I've seen this movie, and I had some memories that didn't pan out, were fabricated, pure fiction, probably confused with other movies. But some things really, like, as soon as I saw them, it was like, oh right, there's lots of that.
Yeah,
you can't forget Madonna. Like, just
I forgot Madonna was in this.
You
can,
yeah. Well, yes. Anyway, that's
Cool.
my history with it. It's been a long time.
I like how behind Jason it just says ass. So my brief history of this is that I had a bunch of toys. I had a Dick Tracy poster in my bedroom as a child. I don't know why, because I wasn't like, Dick Tracy fucking rules. My theory, my real life theory is that my parents probably went to like a Toys R Us or something and there was probably clearance on all of these Dick Tracy items because no one was fucking buying them. So my parents probably were like, we're just gonna get him like a whole shitload of Dick Tracy stuff, and then maybe he'll just like Dick Tracy. Like, does that make sense? And yeah, so that's my theory. Where's the theory? I can't find the theory button.
It says
Someone
it's
moved it.
theory in capital letters.
There it is. Right underneath. So yeah, my theory is that my parents or my dad really liked Dick Tracy, and I just didn't know. But my dad does sometimes he does like Dick Tracy, so maybe it's because it was not a it wasn't a comic book series, right? When we were kids, it was like a newspaper.
A newspaper comic, yeah.
So it was like a couple of panels, and that's it. So that's one of the reasons that I think that Dick Tracy as a character is so underdeveloped, is they just didn't have a lot of source material to work with. They're like, we have all these funny, cool bad guys, and Dick Tracy's just a character that you're meant to insert yourself in as a reader or an audience member to be able to sucker punch people in the face, right? Like that's why this character is just like this emotionless, personalityless husk walking through the movie of Dick Tracy. You don't give a shit about Dick Tracy at all, except for the fact that his costume's kind of cool. You're like, I like his costume, and that's pretty much all I like about this fucking guy. Anyway, we'll talk about that more when we talk about the movie. But yeah, I don't have a real memory of ever watching this as a kid, but I remember seeing it play on TV at one point and being like, wait a minute, I have a bunch of Dick Tracy toys. Dick Tracy's a movie? And I didn't realize that it was a movie, but I had all these toys when I was a kid. And it wasn't a giant poster, but a poster in my room. It's like the side profile picture of Dick Tracy's head. I had that poster in my room, which is a cool poster, I must add. And then I watched it again when I was like a teenager, and I'm like, this movie is boring. I like the way it looks visually, but it's boring as hell. And then I tried to watch it here and there a couple more times in my life up until this week, where I watched it twice, because the first time I watched it, I fell asleep. And then the second time I watched it, I focused and I watched the whole thing. And, it was fine. So that's my brief history.
Cool. I have a weird relationship with this movie because I'm sure I saw it as a kid, but I'm also unsure. I feel like my dad rented it to show me when I was like 6. And it was a similar thing where like I was too young to like remember anything about it, but I remember certain elements. Like I remember all the villains. I don't remember Madonna, but like there's a scene where she's pretty much topless, and I'm like, who is this movie for? Steven and I were having a conversation about this the other night. It's like, this isn't a kid's movie.
It's for daddy. It's for daddy.
It's for dad to like be like, no, look away, son or daughter. Look away, kids. It's not really family friendly. You have Al Pacino. He doesn't swear, but like the energy is that he's swearing. He's freaking
like
out and
people's asses and like
yeah,
at one point he like
punching women in the face.
He like smacks Madonna in the stomach, and like you can tell that it actually hurt. Like she was like,
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna hit you.
Yeah,
be ready.
So,
they pay me the big bucks. Out of my way.
I did have like all of the action figures, and I'm pretty sure the car. Like I was looking at the
I swear to God, Jason, my theory is correct. Both of our parents went to a Toys R Us, and all of the Dick Tracy shit was on like wholesale, where they like sell them for like 50 cents for a figure and like $7 for the car. And then you wake up on Christmas morning and you just have a shitload of
a whole set.
Yeah,
but there's more to it. So I used to love the figures. I was fascinated by the Dick Tracy, the flat top, and I had the like the Sam is like his buddy, like the orange one. I remember Prune Face as well, having that.
I had lips. I remember lips.
Remember lips? Yeah. I remember taking them out into the backyard and burying them with a spoon.
Oh, you're one of those kids. Got it.
Yeah,
I used to bury them.
You seem like a kid that would bury his action figures for sure.
And then in the spring, they would emerge to the surface, and along with the spoons, I would just leave there. My mom would go on an adventure in the spring to be like, where the fuck are all the spoons? And she'd bring back in like 10 spoons. Like, oh, you took them and buried your action figures, you creepy little weirdo. Meanwhile, my like Technodrome and my Ghost and my Turtle Van are like in the ditch in the front yard where
Jesus
I would play.
I took very good care of my toys when I was a kid. When my cousins and neighborhood friends would come over and treat my toys poorly, I would get extremely upset.
Here's, Steve, you had the like sense of mind to do that. My dad like went too hard on the like, you got to take care of your action figures. He was too like, you're gonna play with those outside. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna play with this. If he hadn't like, I don't know if your dad was like that at all, but I feel like he pushed too hard for me to take care of my stuff that I just fucking was like.
Neither of
Sid
my
from-
parents really pushed it. I just didn't want them to. I didn't like when they got scuffed. Like if they got a scratch
Yeah.
on them, I'd get really upset because I was like, now this is like permanently scarred. He's not Scarface. He's Prune Face. He's not supposed to have a big gash. He's just supposed to be wrinkly, and that's it.
You
I
had
get
to
really,
like,
you know, like the
there'd be
waist.
a secondhand market for this kind of stuff. You know, like,
Yeah,
oh,
remember like some of them would have a waist, like an articulate waist they could move. I remember getting really sad if like the waist would get too loose and the legs would get too loose. I would get so upset.
with my Casey Jones figure where I would throw it up in the air as hard as I could and see how high I could throw it.
some of those ones, including GI Joes, you know, if you had not just the articulating torso, but the whole underwear crotch thing going on in separate legs, if you twist them and twist them and twist them,
They'd break,
they'd snap because there's like
Yeah.
an elastic in the middle of
That's
it.
why those were so cool, though, is because the reason that
They
elastic
could
was in there.
explode.
Yeah, but it was so that their arms could remain taut no matter how rough you are with them. But they didn't bank on kids being little psychopaths and like being like, tell us what you'll know, Snake Eyes, or I'll keep twisting.
I had some stuff that I liked. You know, when Crash Test Dummies came around, I took pretty good care of those. But you pressed a button on those and they would explode. So I had
The
to be
toy
like,
you're
keep all the
supposed to
parts
be rough
together.
with is the one that you were really careful with. It's very ironic.
It's all slow motion crashes around this house.
Yeah,
It's true.
I would set
He's
up
like
something
so
called Crash
careful with his
World.
Crash Test Dummies, torturing his Dick Tracy figures and getting mad at people when they try and stretch his stretch Armstrong too far. He's like, no, he can't stretch that much. That's too much stretching is going on.
The
here."
manual says.
Yeah. Also, the inside is toxic according to this manual.
I took
believe
really
that's
good care of
the
my
inside.
wrestling figures, though. My wrestling figures, when that era came around, I would keep really good care. But I would modify some of them with like black Sharpies, and then
Oh,
those
yeah.
ones
I remember.
would
Yeah.
like touch the good ones, make them all dinged up.
I
It was a
remember one
nightmare
time
in my bedroom.
I went
That
to
was
the
pretty-
beach once when I was a kid, and this just you burying your action figures made me think of this. Is because I went to the beach with my parents and I found a shovel and was sitting there, so I just started digging and I hit something and I started digging more and I found this pit of just He-Man action figures, like a dozen.
A mass burial of
Yeah,
He-Man.
like somebody buried a whole shitload of He-Man figures. And then I was like, Mom, can I take these? And she like, you could tell this contemplation on her face. She's like, I mean, these could be here for weeks. They could be here for 20 minutes. I don't know if another parent is going to show up and see you putting all these He-Man toys into a bag. So she's like, no, but maybe just leave them on. Don't bury them again. I was like, okay. Why can't I have them though? It's buried treasure. And she's like, it could have been a stupid kid that buried their fucking shit around their
I think
parents. I'm
buried,
back
buried
looking for
toys
it.
are fair game. Buried toys are fair game.
I think so. I
yeah.
think
Once
so.
you put them
That
underground,
case-
they're not yours anymore.
My mom
That
explained
case-
it to me
yeah.
in a very in a way that made sense to me, which was imagine you buried your toys and you forgot you buried them and you came back to look for them and they weren't there anymore. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. I won't. They could be someone else's.
But it's
So
like
I
a
left
needle
them.
in a haystack situation.
Yeah,
Mike
but now
Casey
they're
Jones-
unburied.
My Casey Jones, well, it's that you actually potentially did a good deed. My Casey Jones figure that I was talking about earlier, I found in the ditch in front of somebody's house, and I think I tangentially knew the person. So that's a
You
dick
think he
move.
swiped your Casey Jones?
I think I swiped somebody's Casey Jones. I think I swiped a Casey Jones figure from a person that you might have actually known
thief.
because it was up. It was up. You know when you go up Alderwood Acres and it turns to go up to the school, and there was that big hill. There was a row of houses, and I seem to remember you had like a friend that lived there. I remember seeing you in that neighborhood when we were kids. I don't know.
Doesn't ring a bell.
It doesn't ring a bell. This is another thing that I've heard from people. Dave Mader, friend of the show, also had this novelization of the book, and also he had like the movie novelization on tape or something. And he was telling me about trips from Halifax to Montreal where he would listen to this like Dick Tracy tape, and it sounds an awful lot like this novelization situation that Sweetheart Pro Wrestling is talking about. And also, just as an aside, I also feel like I remember the Madonna scenes, but also I don't. So maybe it was like turn your head now. Naked Madonna's on the screen.
Yeah. I don't really remember any of this movie except for Tiny Face because he freaked me the fuck out when I first saw him when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, Little Face and fucking
Flat
No
top
Face
there.
also. I had the No Face action figure, I'm pretty sure too, and I was like, what is happening? I'm captivated. He had no face.
Scary. He also sounds like Princess Leia in Return of the Jedi when she was like,
Yes.
Yoda.
Yes. Good pull.
Relax, you have
Indeed.
hibernation sickness.
Your The, eyesight
will return in time.
All right. Quiet on set. Are we rolling? Okay, let's shoot this piece of shit. Sound. Speed. Action!
That was impeccable timing. Thank you.
What a weird story this is of Dick Tracy being made. It's almost more interesting than the conversation we're going to have about this movie, I bet.
Mhm.
Well, the budget was 47 million, and it did well. Had a domestic gross of 103 million, and there was supposed to be a sequel, but it never materialized. But sorry to interrupt you, Steve. Go ahead.
The box office was actually 162 million, and it had an additional $60 million on home video purchases and rentals. So it did extremely well for its budget. It is very weird that they never made a sequel, and I don't know why. And actually, I do know why. Warren Beatty. The answer is Warren Beatty. Anything that, if you ever have a question as to like, why didn't they do this, or this? The answer is almost always Warren Beatty and his weird contract that he got signed before. So I forget what the company is called, but there was it's not the ones that produced the movie, but there was a movie production company that owned the rights to the character and all film rights basically. And they sold those rights to Warren Beatty within perpetuity, meaning that he had to make a project within a certain amount of years in order to maintain that. But the contract was so fucking flimsy that he had so much leeway. They didn't have written to the contract that it has to be a theatrical release movie that's up to 90 minutes or plus. It didn't have to star. I think it only had to star Warren Beatty as Dick Tracy. Like that was like the one rule. And so as we saw before we did this show, for those of you that are not watching the pre-show for this, we did a little deep dive into the subsequent adventures of Dick Tracy after this movie, and it's
the
all
worst
Warren
adventures possible.
It's all Warren Beatty as Dick Tracy doing interviews about this movie. It's never a real adventure. It's just him sitting down and being like, "You got to eat pomegranates. They keep you strong like Popeye." And then the one we watched was only from 2 years ago, which again is Warren Beatty clinging onto the rights of Dick Tracy, where he sits down once again as Dick Tracy, talking to himself as Warren Beatty and two other interviewers. And it's the most unhinged, uncomfortable, awkward thing you've ever seen, where he's just like, it's almost like an old man rambling in a Halloween costume to his own reflection. It's very, very strange. But yeah, he bought the rights for $3 million as well, which sounds like a lot, but the fact that he has been able to maintain the rights for so long, is probably still making money off of this. Not a bad deal that he's been able to hold on to it for so long. The reasons why it doesn't get anything else in terms of sequels is not entirely clear, but he has been teasing it for almost 3 decades at this point, saying like, I'm thinking about making another one. I have an idea and maybe we'll do it one day, but not until the time is right. And it's like, bro, you're going to fucking die soon. Give it to somebody else. To the point that I'm like, maybe it is just that it's been so long and there's been so much criticism of this movie. And then he's also criticized it himself for so long that he just doesn't want to give it to anybody else because he's worried that they might upstage his beautiful work as a director on the movie Dick Tracy. I don't know. But he seems like a little bit of a madman. Like when you see him in
what's really interesting to me about this whole production, it being so colorful and weird and like of the era and very comic book movie from this era, is that if you go back and look at the old Dick Tracy, it was very film noir. It was all in black and white because it's from the 40s, like the movie and TV versions of Dick Tracy are from the 40s, and it's very like pretty on the level. It's pretty serious. He's pretty like, he cracks a little wise, but it's very like just straight film noir. And then you fast forward to the 90s, and this thing feels like Warren Beatty watched Batman 89 and kind of I don't even. What other Tim Burton really exists?
That's not what happened. So like the Batman 89 and this movie would have been being made at the same time. They came out less than a year from
True.
one another.
True, but I just want to ask you this: How did he emulate the Tim Burton style before the Tim Burton style even really like?
Because this was more of a camp style. Tim Burton's style is influenced by like German impressionist filmmaking from like the dawn of cinema, right? You're thinking like Pee-wee's Big Adventure, where it's like, okay, we're looking at something that is over the top and colorful, like you're looking at a circus, right? And so like think about something like the Batman television series. There are moments in this movie that feel almost directly pulled from that style. And like it's not necessarily, I truly believe that like your brain goes to like, this feels like a Tim Burton movie because it's colorful and because the music is Tim Burton style music because Danny Elfman is doing the music, right? Your brain makes the connections there, but like it doesn't really. If you take a step back and look at the cinematography and just the color palette is what would be only used in early printing for comic books, right? Like the red, the yellow, the blue, like they would only use primary colors. And like when you look at, they walk into a room and everything is a bright primary color and the same yellow is going to be emulated over and over again. You're not looking at different tones of yellow. You're looking at the same yellow throughout the entire room. Same with the same red, the blue and the green. It's almost too much for your brain to handle, but that's how like a comic book would have been printed in the 50s and 60s, is they'd only have one yellow. They'd only have one red. So when you're colorizing something, you're limited. And they did that in the production of this movie. And I kind of think it's really cool and interesting to look at.
It works.
Right,
it works.
Same with
they're really committed
So-
to it.
Yeah.
So this is similar to Ang Lee doing what he did with the Hulk, and he tried to make the movie look like you were reading a modern comic book, where it would be like a
A
scene,
little bit, except
freeze, and then it would go over to like another
whereas
scene inside a page.
Ang Lee was like literally trying to emulate the vibe of reading a comic book panel to panel with your eyeballs, but like the screen is doing it. Whereas this is just like the color palette of a comic book and the framing of a comic book, where it's like I'm painting a picture. How can I make it the most interesting? I'll have the camera really low and I'll have a lot of negative space behind the character as they're talking, with maybe a few things to break up the horizons at the bottom. And then there's a bunch of empty space that you populate with things to make your eye go, ooh, ooh, ooh. And it looks interesting. And it works in this movie, I think, but it's almost like the movie itself feasts a little bit too hard on those moments. And so you're sitting here in a room that's shot really well, with characters wearing interesting costumes, with the entire thing being painted with like an incredible color palette, but the content of what you're watching is boring and is drawn out, and there's like this fucking 8-minute conversation between a bunch of criminals that should be maybe 3 minutes, but it's way too long, right? I think this movie could have been like half an hour shorter and it would have been a lot more exciting.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
And in fact, when I turned it on, I was like, oh, 2 hours. What? How?
That's with credits too. I think it weighs in even a little shorter, unless you're watching like the director's extended edition, which you often
the Warren Beatty cut, where he
tend to do
actually
on this one,
includes both interviews,
and then
at
you're
the
like,
end.
why does this suck?
Why is it so bad?
I did like the forced perspective stuff that they do in this. That does feel like you're looking at a comic panel, like a newspaper comic panel specifically. And there were some really unique shots. There were a lot of great matte paintings, obviously, but there were the scene where he goes and he like fights kid's dad and the house is rocking back and forth. And
I don't think that's his dad.
Or his
I call that the train yard meat man. That's what he's like. He only eats raw chicken, and his
role model du jour.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's just covered
Bring
in
me
meat
some
fur.
watches, kid. I need some more watches.
Yeah, he's
and some raw meat.
Yeah, and he's all hairy and gross.
But
he has like beard hair on his forehead somehow. You're like, oh.
You don't get a good look at him, so you're left to just make it up in your head.
He kind of looks like a lollipop that got left in the sun, dipped in a puddle, and then thrown under the couch for a while. You pull it out. That's what this man.
I think he got his own action figure also.
His name was the Train Yard Meat Man.
He's like ugly.
Don't you guys read comic books? Some more production stuff is like, Madonna had a companion album that she made to this movie, where some of the songs that she performed in the movie, which she didn't write, but I think the songs that were written by Stephen Sondheim, the guy who did
Stephen Sondheim,
Sweeney Todd, a bunch of Broadway stuff. And I believe he won an Oscar for this movie as well, which is wild. This movie won like 4 Oscars, by the way. Which you're like,
it was
what?
nominated for 7. Al Pacino was nominated for a Best Supporting Actor for that thing.
Listen,
that
he did a good job.
I mean, he was
He's in a separate movie.
He was a version of Al Pacino.
He was.
Yeah.
I feel like
he was also really, really in there too, like in those scenes where he's like getting the girls going to dance and stuff.
Yeah, he's like,
You know, very high energy. Aside from slapping them around in the butts and stuff like that, you know, he's putting himself in there to be like, oh.
It is goofy. It is goofy.
He definitely puts himself out there.
And I'll say his performance is not bad. Like, it's not a bad performance. It's not an Oscar-worthy performance by any means, but it is like it's not bad. Also, fun fact about that is like the guy who did the prosthetics for him in this movie ended up bringing him. He liked, because they designed that look together, right? Like Warren Beatty, Al Pacino, and the makeup artist. They all designed that together, and then that guy ended up being his like main hair and makeup guy for the rest of his career, basically. So he's like, anytime that guy Al Pacino's like,
wild.
You're with me now forever. I love that fake chin you gave me.
Wasn't Scent of a Woman like very close to this movie?
Yeah, this is around the same time as I also think, didn't Godfather 3 come out the same year as this movie? Like, anyway.
Oh, Scent of a Woman was 92.
Yeah,
and
Godfather 3 came out the same year as this, I think. But yeah, it's like he had this weird.
Yeah, that's right.
It's almost like this energy infected the rest of his career. The decisions he was making. I mean, he was nominated for an Oscar for this performance, so maybe he's like,
Listen, this is what the people love. This is what they're gonna get for the rest of time.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Serpico's got a. You can see what Pacino's going to become in Serpico a little bit. He's not as dialed up, but towards the end of that movie, he's like, going around.
Because this guy was his makeup artist for the rest of time, it'd be great if every movie since then he just had like a weird prosthetic, like in Scent of a Woman. He just had like,
he's like, listen, man, I just want really big ears for this or something. Can you give me big ears? Or maybe give me like some sort of strange eye scar, like I got clawed by a tiger or something.
It's like this. You're playing a lawyer in this.
I don't care. I want something weird.
Yeah. Anyway, the music, he won. Madonna made like a companion album to this. Interesting to me because the music on that album contains both the music that she performs in this movie as well as a bunch of music inspired by this movie.
So there were 2 albums. Is that what you're going to say?
For what?
For this, there were 2 separate.
No, I'm talking about Madonna and Madonna only.
She had one album that was a Breathless Mahone album. That's aside from the one that's the music inspired.
Soundtrack for the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the soundtrack for the movie. I'm just talking about the one where she has the music from this movie and then songs that she made almost as though she is the character in this movie. I
misheard you. Yeah, you're right.
And which is where Vogue appears for the first time, one of the best Madonna songs ever.
Isn't that crazy?
So when you watch the Vogue video, you have to almost imagine that it's in the Dick Tracy
inspired
universe.
by.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine Al Pacino showed up in that music video as this fucking meat man character.
The same character.
Faster, higher, stronger, better.
Anyway, that's the joke I was trying to get to.
I'm sorry. But I wanted to mention that because here's something interesting I forgot to mention in my brief history. I had the cassette of the Dick Tracy soundtrack, specifically the one that has it had like the only song I actually heard in the movie was like the song about Big Boy like doing it, like the kind of doo-wop song. But then it was the Whiskey Talkin' Not Me at that point when he walks into the greenhouse is on that album. But there's a whole bunch of other songs on it, including an Ice-T song that is just like a weird rap Dick Tracy weird with like like the radio voice.
The events of or
yeah, but like through the radio voice is like in between, and
which is crazy because they don't even have the radio
voice.
Yeah, Ice-T is technically a radio voice. Yeah.
And it had this song by Darlene Love, who's like a person from like the 40s, but she made a modern version of her song Mr. Fix It. But there's also the 1930s version of that song on the album, and those two songs I remember being captivated by when I was like 6 years old. And now even more, I'm remembering I went on like a road trip with my grandmother. She probably bought me this tape, probably from the Remainders bin, as Stephen was pointing out earlier. I
That's
remember
what we
having
should call
this
podcast.
Zeller's
the
Clear.
Remainders bin. That's kind of the same name as the BS Bargain Bin podcast.
Oh, right, true, yeah. They both have been in it and infer the same thing.
Yeah. But I remember going on this road trip, and I had this Life magazine you send away for like tape deck, and I remember having it with me for this trip and listening to this album on repeat. It's a seminal musical moment as a kid.
So another thing I wanted to mention about the budget of this movie is it cost $47 million. But they spent over $50 million on the marketing for this. So they had the toy line, as we talked about already. I think they did a McDonald's tie-in as well with like Dick Tracy McDonald's toys and cups and shit. But also they had like MTV spots where they'd have like Flat Top take over or like a music video and things like crazy. And like I think even Warren Beatty was like, "This is just too much. I don't like this." But everyone else was like, "Everybody's got dick fever," or whatever.
We're in dick mode.
People are going crazy for Tracy. But it's despite that. I mean, it worked because the movie made tons and tons of money, but it is one of those like sizzle in the pan movies that really it never did anything. And like, you've got Prune Tracy there, and it's like I remember that bit of The Simpsons more than I remember anything that happened in this movie for the rest of my life.
Yeah, it was one of those. We did a series on this show a couple of years ago where it was like movies that kind of took over. We talked about the Flintstones. This would have been a good.
The Flintstones took over.
Oh yeah.
Like yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was.
Okay.
It was
for like
everywhere.
a whole summer. It was like
when McDonald's
yeah,
and they're turning into McFlintstones or whatever.
You can go anywhere without hearing the B-52's cover of Flintstones. Flintstones.
But it's rare that a movie gets two soundtrack albums too, and one of them I don't know of another situation.
Batman '89.
Yeah, was there just like a Prince album?
Yeah, a whole Prince album of just Prince music that I think they told Prince that all of them was going to be in Batman, and he was like, all right, and he just made a whole album and released it separately, which is kind of crazy. And it's a thing that doesn't happen anymore, right? Like, I mean, I guess it happened this year, but it's a little bit
Lady Gaga did do the same thing literally this year for Joker Folly Ado.
Well, I wasn't talking about that, but I was talking about Tron. Like it just happened with 9 Inch Nails, and the other Tron movie 10 years ago or whatever did the same thing.
Aren't those more like
they're soundtracks? They're like they're playing
score and
but they also have lyrical versions where Trent Reznor is singing over top, which I don't believe are part of the movie. I think they're sort of like separate from it. But yeah, so it's a yes and no, I guess. But I haven't taken the time to listen to the Joker 2 soundtrack. I have to say, even though I really like Lady Gaga, I just don't really.
Well, the whole movie is. I was excited to watch that because I was like, oh, it's like a musical. It's all covers of like old songs, but it's no songs you've ever heard of. That's the problem with it. I was like, it's supposed to be a sing-along movie, but you haven't heard any songs before. And also, it sucks. Lady Gaga is the best part of the movie, and I think she's in it for a grand total of 16 minutes.
Lady Gaga is one of the best parts of the modern era that we live in.
Yeah,
I'll go ahead and say that. But it's very disappointing that that was a wagon that she decided to hitch herself to. Because I didn't like the first one.
I think she was promised things. Anyway, I think it's. Sorry?
Maybe I'll watch it one day.
You should watch it.
Yeah, I just it's one of those things where I'm like, I care so little that I almost have an aversion to it. Where I'm like, I don't want to. I can't remember if I had any more fun facts about this, but Warren Beatty's a bad man. That's that part when he jumps onto that pole and like like
Yeah,
hits his
bonks
face.
his head.
Where I was watching with Danny, I'm like, that looked like it hurt, and Danny was like, I think that stuntman maybe knocked his teeth out, and then I looked it up, and I was like, that was Warren Beatty. There's like a funny interview where they're like, do you ever feel bad for that stuntman at that one part? And Warren Beatty's like, that was me. I did
That
it
was me.
myself.
Warren, please don't. Warren,
It's
you
like, oh,
don't
that's
have
why-
to do this.
We have a stuntman; it'll look better.
I'm gonna do it. I'm
If you
doing it.
die-
I'm doing it. We're not filming.
If you die here, we'll never make Dick Tracy 2.
This time it's Tracy here. Yeah,
Dick
it's so
time.
it's and it also looks terrible. Like that jump is so
It
terrible.
looks so.
Where you're like, did they only get one take?
Like a
Yeah.
toddler on a playground or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's one of those moments where like they probably did do like 5 other takes with an actual stuntman, and then like showed it to him, and he's like, "Where's the one I did?" And they're like,
That
"It's
was
this
the best
one."
one.
Yeah, it's like we're using that. It's like okay.
Before we move on, I want to show the action figure lineup because
Ah, yes.
they are classics.
Prune
I
face
don't
looks
know
like
if the-
Leatherface from fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, and I had shoulders. I had flat top. I had Dick Tracy, and I think I had prune face. But I think I might have had the brow and thought it was prune face. But the tramp, I think, is the character.
That's not all of them, right? Like I remember having lips.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying go look them all up. I'm just saying, like, I feel like I remember having lips.
I'm looking at. No, you're right, because there's a picture that has so many fucking figures in it with the car. And yeah, because there's blank face and there's itchy.
You know, I tried to go as blank face for Halloween one year, and people said it was a hate crime.
You said it wrong. I think.
Oh,
Here, let me quickly pull this up. Let me see if I can get this in here before. Oh, I got a private chat from one of you.
Oh, it was
you guys remember when Justin Trudeau went for as blank face for Halloween that one time? I'm trying to feel,
What?
Yeah.
trying to feel out this bit. Like I feel like I had worded it funnier.
Do you need me to show this Brad Marchand picture that he?
I mean, I don't know how many of your listeners are hockey fans or not, but I mean that's a
also
local hero, Brad Marchand. He plays for the Florida Panthers now. His nickname is the Rat, and if the Florida Panthers, their whole fans thing is when they're like winning or at the end of the game, especially in the playoffs, they'll throw plastic rats on the ice.
and then they lose.
So-
the game.
and so
they lose
this-
the game
this-
because
This Dick Tracy villain, known as the Rodent, his toy anyway, bears a striking resemblance to Brad Marchand.
here's way more of them.
There's
You
lips.
can
I
see
had
rat-
lips. I can see
Yeah.
them in the back there.
You can see rat face there next to.
Oh, he sure-
I definitely had flat top too, and I had the purple guy,
Yeah.
and I had wrinkle head guy. I did not have blank face.
I had blank face. I remember loving blank face so much.
I don't think I even had a Dick Tracy. When I think about it,
I'd put up the Brad Marchand picture, but the problem is it's a web p.
well, it's fine.
A
Does he
lot
look
of
like a rat or something? Is that
StreamYard
what it's called?
doesn't. He's just kind of got a big nose. He's
Oh,
kinda
that's
got
so
a
rude.
lower
What a
different
rude
nose.
thing to do to somebody.
His nickname is
That's
the
great.
Rat throughout the league.
I put on the Vogue music video of Madonna, and I'm like, imagine how awesome this music video would be if it was just all those crazy prosthetic villains dancing. Like they get like doing like the crazy dance choreography, like just get professional dancers and make them look like flat top and, and blank face or whatever. It's so great. And then at the end, it's like, all right, fellas, back to work after the song ends or something.
So speaking before we get into it, because I don't know where I would say this, I was talking before during my history of this of having misremembrances of this of like I thought this was going to happen, and when I was talking to Jason, I could have swore that there was some kind of vats in this, vats of acid, vats of goo.
Right.
I thought it was a part of it, confusing it probably with RoboCop and Roger Rabbit, and it seemed like anything of that era had some vats with dangerous liquids in them. And so with starting this when I watched this movie again, like I remember Flat Top and like Little Face, But even through like the first half hour, I don't know if I was waiting for a VAT situation to explain these mutants, or like, okay, so when are you gonna just like, when are you gonna say why these guys look this way?
Yeah.
And why is it only the bad guys? But I think I saw one cop that also had a fucked up face.
But that was a bad guy pretending to be a cop.
Oh, that's right. Yes,
Yeah.
I forgot about that. I didn't get that till later. But
even like Mandy
yeah,
Patinkin, like it doesn't look that messed up, but his hairline's almost too far back or something. Like, and he also has a weird laugh. Like everybody's crazy.
He's got like a Jimmy. He's like a Jimmy Carr laugh.
And then when they have the big meeting with all the criminals, like there are some of them that aren't mutants. So
yeah, but they're mutant adjacent. Like James Caan has a fake nose that makes him look like he's like carved like an Easter Island head or something, you know, like
right. And all those background guys that we're talking about probably just have like the really fucked up ear, but you can't see it because it's on the other side of the frame.
But you know, also I got to imagine that some of these guys, like it probably takes like 8-9 hours to get some of these dudes in their makeup.
True.
Right? Where it's like we can't do
like
this
little
for
faces in the movie for 4
The
seconds.
makeup artists are like, please, my digits, they're fucked up. I've been painting this guy's freckles for 6 hours.
Did they just use the same prosthetic for Littleface that they used for a Bobo in Double Dragon?
they used it in Dick Tracy, and then they carved it down a little bit for
Littleface is one of those prosthetics though that like you almost want to see it, like you want to see a different angle where they did a different one, right, with an actual little like animatronic face from far away to make it look like it's talking or something.
The VAT era of filmmaking. Yeah,
Throw him in a fucking fat. That's how most Batman. That's how most Batman villains.
Why wasn't there a VAT man?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I got thrown in a fucking vat.
Oh,
As soon as he said VAT,
he was bit by a radioactive vat.
Yeah. As soon as he said VAT, I was like, where do I drop in the you'll never catch me this time, VAT man? But I couldn't think of a good way to drop it in. But that guy, the VAT era of filmmaking is good. But all those guys at the beginning are actual like Dick Tracy villains from the Dick Tracy comic strips. And Warren Beatty, like to his credit, when making this, he's like, I want to put every single one of these guys in here just in case I don't get a chance to make another one of these movies. I want to put all of them in anywhere that I can. But like he puts like 6 of them in that first sequence, and then they all get fucking blown away by Hot Top or whatever his name is. What's it called? What's his name?
Hot Top
Soup or something?
Flat Top and Itchy are like the 2 main guys who exist right to the end. Flat Top looks, distinguished and insane. Itchy has like a weird nose. He's got like a Popeye nose, and he scratches, but he only really scratches in this movie like once or twice. So I was like, what is his thing?
I didn't
poached nose?
I wouldn't know if they didn't say it. Like maybe he should have been like, oh, I'm so fucking itchy. Like he should have said it like all the time. Can't stop scratching.
Every scene. Will you shut up?
Yeah, stop scratching.
China.
Everybody be quiet. Be quiet. Be quiet.
Scratching.
Who's scratching?
It gave us away.
Yeah. That is a good bit. Why didn't they use that?
Who the fuck is scratching?
It's itchy.
My pubes are out of control. Let it load you up for me.
Sorry, boss. That gold bond ain't working.
It's just so bad.
Damn it.
Also, I thought
that's a good VAT movie, American Pickle.
I've not. No.
It's all right. It's a pretty good movie. It's pretty recent.
I
want more of
this
that.
Is Dave Maynard was talking. I told them your story a little bit from how you would take road trips. So thanks for letting me say that, even though you didn't really say I could. Should we go to the body of the episode?
Yeah, I could talk about the production of this forever. It's crazy. There's so many things I didn't even hit, but maybe I'll try and slide them.
Oh, Madonna were Madonna and Beatty
Warren Beatty were
going at it during
together at this
the whole
point,
production.
Opposed to her
a boner
of this movie to marry.
That's what a YouTube video told me.
And what was the funny thing is she said no, and then he was like he broke off their relationship, or she didn't say no, she was hesitant, and he was like, okay, never mind. I have had sex with 13,000 women or whatever the statistic is. That's unbelievable and crazy. I don't need you, Madonna. And then he later said, like, what it turns out I was giving her was a friendship ring. And everyone's like, oh, how sweet.
Ho, 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 ho! Everybody back up, because here comes the body of the episode.
Gotta have the long body for this week's body of the episode, because that motif fits for this month. It's interesting how that turned out. But this is the segment of the show where we kind of break down the whole movie.
That's what I designed it around, was a femme fatale.
Yeah, perfect.
Not interesting.
That's why I put legs all over her.
That's why I put legs all over her. Come on.
Her legs. Look at the
lady.
blonde ambition tour over here. Well, we sort of talked a little bit at length already about various elements of this movie, which is interesting because of the fact. Wait, who could be here? Who possibly could be here right now?
Is it Warren Beatty dressed as Dick Tracy?
Hey, Jason and Steve. I was just on a walk, and it occurred to me, I think you guys are still doing the podcast, aren't you? The movie one. Hey, did you see this one? You got to be up to like 206 episodes by now. That's crazy. Good for you guys. Stay warm out there.
I forgot we had a crazy snowstorm this week.
It's true. I was sleeping for most of it. I mean, working. Or was it on the weekend? I don't remember. Yeah,
It was
definitely
on
too soon
Sunday,
for
I think.
snow. Yeah, it was. Yes,
Uh-huh.
too soon for snow. What's it like in Halifax, Graham?
It snowed a little bit the other day, and that's it. Otherwise, just wet and coldish. Classic
Well,
November.
Speaking of wet and cold, there's an intro in this movie where a radio voice is sort of talking about all the criminals doing crimes to the informants. Organized crime.
He says the craziest shit. He says something like, a local cupcake maker got his knees bent backwards or something. It's all wild shit. You're like, oh my god.
We see Dick Tracy basically preparing like he's Batman. He's putting on all this little accoutrements. And we're introduced to all of the characters during the actual credit intro. If you look, you can see everybody in this movie and who they are, which is pretty great.
There's a couple that aren't name dropped in that opening crawl, but it's not a crawl, but it's our opening credit sequence. But even James Caan gets like a pretty big marquee piece there. He's in the movie for what, like 2 minutes? You don't even know it's him for the majority of it because he's at a long shot, and then you only realize it's him when he gets up to go, I'm out of here. And then he leaves and gets blown up. And you're like, oh, okay, well, thanks for stopping by, James Caan. Yeah.
That's sort of like what this movie is. You have like the cast of a Goodfellas style movie.
Well,
everybody with like ridiculous.
You're like, oh, he was in that.
Yes,
I must have missed him.
This is like one of those things where he populated his movie with famous people because he thought it was going to be huge, which it was huge, and he didn't capitalize on the hugeness of it when he should have. But it's not like a Batman movie where you've got maybe a huge name for one interesting character and then everything else is just character actors that you sort of recognize or aren't in anything else. This movie is like every single person is somebody big, and if they weren't big at the time, they're pretty big now, or they were already sort of big for something before this. It's fucking crazy. Kathy Bates shows up for 2 seconds.
It's like Avengers Endgame level of people. Like
might as well have been orange portals opening up and people saying I'm on your left the entire time.
When I saw Catherine O'Hara was in it, I was like, oh wow, but I be honest, I don't remember where she was. I could have just
would have been young at the time.
Snapped it up.
Who is she?
Catherine O'Hara?
I know who Catherine O'Hara is, but who is she in this movie?
Help.
I have the movie.
She's one of the dames. She's one of the dames,
She's one of the named dames.
She's the third dame. She's the third woman that has a line, maybe.
Seymour Kessel's in this, and as Sam Ketchum. Isn't that the name of the Pokemon trainer?
Yeah. Oh man, that was going to be my joke later when we got to it, but
sorry, fucked it.
Her name is Tracy
Garcia.
What the fuck? I didn't even notice her either. Oh, no, she's just in that room with all the people. She's just sitting there.
she's name dropped in the opening, and I think she also has a character name.
Something tells me
Which
that
Trixie Garcia.
something tells me that room, that the crime boss sequence, all those guys were supposed to have more lines. Everybody in that room was going to have something to say, and they just cut it all because they're like, we can't have a 25-minute sequence of Al Pacino crushing walnuts and being like, "What, you guys don't like walnuts over here?"
And then all of Warren Beatty's friends
Beetlejuice
from
Lady
all
and
of the
Tea.
history of Hollywood are just have one line.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like Kathy Bates is one line. And I was like, Kathy Bates, what the fuck?
That was my theory of this.
It's
Like
it-
either Warren Beatty called in a lot of favors, or Warren Beatty had a lot of dirt on a lot of people for this movie.
I think it's weird in the opening title credits that to give so many character names. It's one thing to be like Warren Beatty is Dick Tracy, and this guy is the kid, and like, okay, but when you just start there's like a couple pages where it's got famous actor is legs or fucking T-bone.
Bumbles.
None of this is gonna stick with me 20 minutes from now.
I feel like it makes sense in this movie because if you know the name and the character and who's playing it, and like you see them, you try to figure out like, why is that their name? What's the trait here? Like lips, obviously he's got weird fish lips. We know he's lips. Prune face looks like a prune. We understand that, but this guy's name is Scratchy or Itchy, and he's like, I'm freaking itchy over here. Like you're like, okay. But then there's a couple that you're like, what? Okay, yeah, like legs. Like I guess if he stood up and was really tall or something, and his pants really high up.
And the weird, the nicknames, not necessarily nicknames. I assume these are all their Christian names. Aren't just for the villains either. Like they Bugs, right? Dick Tracy's one of the other officers or whatever who bugs stuff.
I assume that was the guy with the big ears. The guy with the huge ears is Bugs because he bugs he's the listening guy. Yeah, I assume that was. Yeah, which wouldn't you call them ears or lobes or something? Lobes.
What's his thing?
Yeah, what's
he can wear lots of earrings at once.
Bug Bailey. He fucking fucks up by spilling his coffee. Anyway, we'll get to that. This movie is, of course, scored by Danny Elfman. It sounds like he took his B-roll music.
So, I did want to mention this as well, was that he was brought onto this because of the success a year earlier, and the music hadn't been finalized yet. And as we all know, we know this because we live in the future and we can look back on things with a scrutinous and sometimes unfairly judgmental eye, or ear in this case, and say like, "Oh, you ripped off that, you ripped off this, you guys are all assholes." But it's like, no,
I didn't say ripped off.
I didn't say either. I didn't say you said that. I was talking about a fictional person in my mind that isn't you. The fact that you got so defensive makes me think that you
call me out on saying people are ripping off people, but I think that literally he wrote the Batman score.
Well, I can tell you what happened.
Okay, thank you. Tell me.
Tell me about it.
You spoke to Danny?
Yeah, me and Danny were on the honker or whatever you call it.
The horn.
Yeah, horn. There you go.
The honker.
So what happened is they brought him on because of the success of Batman, and production companies don't know any better. They just think that comic book movies are all the same thing, right? A superhero and Dick Tracy are the same thing. So they're like, well, he did a very good comic book score for this comic book movie. We'll bring him on for this other comic book movie, and it's the same thing. And I don't hate the score for this. I think it's actually really good at some points. I think the romantic score that we get here and there is quite good and touching and appropriate. I think that the marching parts are pretty good at times, but I do think that like the fanfare version of Dick Tracy's theme is way too similar to what you hear in something like Batman, where it almost feels inappropriate at times. You're like,
my problem
this isn't Gotham City.
My problem with it is that it doesn't have a very distinct theme for
anybody, really.
Dick Tracy. Yeah. I do know what you're saying though. Like it did have a good romance theme, and there's a lot of really good work put in, obviously, because it's Danny Elfman, and especially early in his career, Danny Elfman, where he's like trying really hard for everything.
And it's been like, he's still in that mode, the Batman mode.
That's what I mean.
He probably went from Batman, maybe something in between, and then this, where like
he could have been composing them both at the same time. That's where my theory that he took the stuff he didn't use for Batman was like, I can use this for Dick Tracy, but they sound similar because he was probably using the same orchestra You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
yeah, absolutely he was.
If I was running Dick Tracy, I also would have given them the direction of, "Oh, we love what you did in Batman."
Yeah.
Give us a
yeah,
little bit of that.
yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. Is that's probably what happened, right? Is like do that again, and he's like he probably gave them a bunch of other stuff that was more noir adjacent or like something that you would think of in a detective movie, and they were probably like, no, fuck that, do the Batman stuff that you
Do
did.
the Batman song.
And
Like, I
Danny
can't.
Elfman was actually there was an interview
Trademarked by Warner Brothers now.
there was an interview with Danny Elfman where he said Warren Beatty is absolutely insane. Like that was like the main takeaway from the interview is that it was really, really hard to work with Warren Beatty because he was just a madman. Which I'm like, yeah, I mean that's what most people say about him. That's even what Dick Tracy says about him in those fucking interviews that we've watched beforehand. Yeah.
I like the idea that I'm making this up. This is just me saying this, but Warren Beatty shows up to like the first script read with a script that's like 400 pages long. It's like, I'm making this movie and all my friends are going to be in it. They're like,
and
well,
as he
movie
sits
has to
down,
be
someone
2
puts a
hours.
yellow hat on him from behind and he's like, that's his crazy radio watch.
But I think it's especially incredible that Stephen Sondheim came in and wrote, like, there's a world where this is a full-on musical. So the 300 montages are actually, which do kind of play as like a music break, like you would see in a musical.
Yeah.
If you put this whole thing on stage, it works perfectly fine.
It'd probably be, and you know, like I didn't even really consider that when I was thinking about the visual style of this movie, but it is very like, it's like kitschy and campy to the point that like it does feel like something that would be on a stage, but like a Wizard of Oz or something, right?
It's 35 years old. Like I'm surprised nobody adapted it because it's not.
I think that it has been. I'm pretty sure it has been.
Yeah.
Like
okay.
I was reading through a bunch of stuff today. I know they did a musical thing at Disney where it was like a play, but it was like a shorter. Okay. It wasn't like a full like 3-hour like musical that you go see. It was like a shorter thing. And it was during the ramp up to the movie and through the runtime, and then a little bit afterwards, where they did this like Sondheim musical thing of Dick Tracy, and it was just like a bunch of cans and punches or whatever.
But I could see this coming to Toronto in like 2030. Like it's back finally. It's long awaited rerun in Toronto.
There are so many people out there pining for Dick Tracy the musical.
Bro, I went to the Beetlejuice musical and I went to the Back to the Future musicals, and people were eating that shit up, and they weren't even that good.
And when you left, there were people on the streets with signs that said "Show me your dick" on them, like "Show me your dick."
Yeah, it's dick time.
Yeah, it's dick time.
I have an idea for a t-shirt for this show. Steve, can you just draw a very realistic looking Warren Beatty holding a gun kind of like this, and then Dick Time and the Dick Tracy?
Sure. I could probably do that.
I've been thinking about it all week.
That's V1. Let's just get some feedback on that one.
Dick Time.
Yeah.
Or It's Time for Dick, or Dick's Back, or Backdoor Dickie.
Dick Ride.
Dick Tracy really never inspired a fandom in the way that
not even a little bit.
Even Beetlejuice had, despite being a one-off, one movie and a cartoon, still like people remember it. But
why was there no Saturday morning Dick Tracy cartoon? This would have worked perfectly for a Saturday morning cartoon.
It probably would have, and it would have probably had a little bit more impact on people like me who never saw Beetlejuice until I was like a young teen, like a 12-year-old basically, but I watched the Beetlejuice cartoon all the time as a kid, so I had this affinity for Beetlejuice that didn't exist, and even the poster of Beetlejuice for the live action movie like frightened me when I was a kid, and I was too scared to watch it, but I watched the cartoon all the time. And then when I eventually did watch Beetlejuice, I was like, this fucking rules. I love this shit. And maybe that's what Warren Beatty should have been, using that $3 million that he spent wisely and started pouring the resources he got from this movie into other things like that. And maybe we would have a whole Dickie world. We'd be living in a Dickie world right now. If that was Dick world.
No, instead we got Dick Zooms In or whatever the fuck on YouTube in 2023. He didn't even do it during COVID. He did it like right after COVID.
Right at the end. They kept being like, well, we could do
something.
I
just heard about the Zoom thing, guys.
Yeah, wait a minute.
What you been doing?
I've been in quarantine for several years, and
he's been wearing that Dick Tracy costume the whole time in quarantine, probably.
Oh, for COVID? And he's like,
Tracy face.
What? COVID?
Yeah.
I came up with a new character. His name's Dick Face. He's the evil Dick Tracy, and Dick has got to fight him.
It's me without a hat on. That's just you, Warren Beatty. Yeah, I'm Dick Face. Okay, well, he's crazy now.
Let's get a few
Just to
pages out of
move-
this.
Just to move the movie.
So Dick
forward a
Tracy
little-
and Prune Face, they get into the machine from The Fly, and he comes out and he's called Prune Dick.
It's called Prune Dick.
You can just make 3 separate movies of this, and
It's the Dick universe, the DCU. Warren, there's already a thing called the DCU.
What?
What?
The heck are you talking about? Pomegranates.
Pomegranates. You could get a blueberry in there if you're feeling risky.
All right, we haven't even
Uh,
started.
Right.
talking about
Okay. So Flat Top comes into a group of these weird looking criminals. I think Rat Face and fucking Little Face are there. And I wrote, Warren Beatty directed this. At this point I had forgotten about all of that element. Dick gets called
This
out
is
of
the only part
opera.
that I really remember from my childhood is this
Me
table
too.
of like creeps playing poker, and
Yeah.
they all have weird voices, and it's very cartoonish, but it's super effective and like good. Like I like it. I think I'm very sold the entire time that I'm watching this, and I'm quite excited for the rest of the movie. Being like, look at all these fucking weirdos. I love this. I love that guy's forehead. Looks sick.
If this
And-
movie is 87 minutes long, make 7 of these fucking movies. If they're all 2 hours, please
Yeah.
just make one. And I
That
got
was one
I
of the
got
criticisms that he got,
gist.
though, is that like he added every single interesting looking villain that existed in all of the Dick Tracy lore, and he just blew them all away. Like every
Yeah.
single one of them gets killed. And it's
Yeah,
like,
he punches
blew his
7
wad
guys
on
at
the
the
one
same
movie.
time at one point.
yeah.
he should have
It's
saved like half of those guys for a sequel and be like, "Oh, look
Yeah.
at this fucking face in that one."
Look at this face and that face.
It'd be at the end of after the credits in the first movie roll, then it's just like, well, look at what other kind of freaks we've got for you.
Yeah, it could
This
have been a
guy's got
post-credit
huge
sequence.
ears.
There could have been a post-credit sequence where, you know, Big Boy, he's in a wheelchair because he didn't die when he fell down that clock tower. I don't know where they're at. Yeah. And he's like squeaking through, and he's like, "Oh God, I can't believe Tracy got me again!" And like, it's all these villains, like Little Face and Dick Forehead or whatever, and like Squid Chin or what. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're all even more mutated, looking like
Yeah.
the T-1000 taking out like a
Yeah.
shotgun blast to the face.
Yeah.
His name is
What-
just Jonathan.
One of them
Yeah.
is like his name's Clockwork, and he's like a weird old timey clockwork robot. Being like, "Oh, so it seems that Big Boy has finally been captured." Oh, spot
I
of tea.
have no idea how I came to be.
I'm butt cheeks, and his cheeks look like butt cheeks, and his nose is a butthole.
His nose is a butthole.
Yeah, his butt cheeks.
God.
They call me
Spread
butt
'em.
cheeks.
Give him
Dick,
his
Dick
own-
is
give
like
him his own
spread them.
code.
We gotta stop
right
pairing butt cheeks up with dick nose. They can't stop. These guys won't leave each other.
They keep
alone.
falling on each other. So why are you boys so clumsy?
Well, this is the porno apparently.
Mhm.
There's a really unique shot from the opera.
What would the
which I
porn
thought was
parody
cool.
of Dick Tracy be called? Just Dick
Dick
Tracy again?
Tracy, yeah,
Same
Cock
name.
Tracy.
Cock Tracy.
In fact, Simon Fraser, who got the movie right, I let him get it right by guessing Cock Tracy. So shout out to Simon Fraser.
Right.
He's like Cock Tracy, and I was like, "Yep, that's it."
Okay,
Good
so
enough.
all these guys get blown away. Little face, wrinkly head, big nose. I don't know what that one guy just looks like. Halitosis man, like his liver is probably
Yep.
not doing too great.
He's just got a stinky breath, but he looks normal.
He's just got a stinky breath on him. That guy.
It's stink breath.
Oh God.
Oh, stop talking to me.
Rancid. But then Flat
Eat
Top,
lead.
the hottest.
Eat
of
lead
the-
written in. Yeah.
I don't know. So I'm not sexually attracted to Flat Top. I need to make this clear, but there's something extremely compelling about that guy that every time that he's on screen, I'm just staring at him the whole time. I'm
Well-
like, what is it about this guy that like?
Well,
I think it's the
people
way
is-
he's doing his eyes, and he's got this like coy smile that he's. I'm
I've
like, this
always been
guy's so
captivated by Flat Top, and he's
I thought you were
played
going to
by.
say because he could use his head as a chair.
Oh,
You want to sit on my face?
I'm like, I don't really want to sit on your face, but the top part,
Oh,
the top part, I'll sit on.
skull me, baby.
Give me this.
He's played by William Forsythe, who is like
Yeah.
from lots of stuff.
William Forsythe also is one of those guys where you're like, if you see him in real life, you're probably like, whoa, look at that guy's weird face. But like on camera,
Yeah.
you're like, look at this interesting faced man. He's got an interesting face.
I went through this whole movie not knowing who it was, and I was like, "Is that Taco?"
I did have to look it up
from
too because
Unity?
I'm like, he looks so familiar, and I feel like I think it's this guy, but I don't know. And then I looked it up, and I was happy that I was correct. I was like, oh, it is
Yeah.
that guy. The guy
Oh,
from
it's that guy.
it's the guy
Is that
from
the-
the Coen Brothers movie where they steal the baby,
Yeah,
Raising Arizona.
Raising Arizona. Yeah.
we covered that on this very show. It was Big Boy Caprice did all the things. He sent these boys to kill the other guys. Eat Lead Tracy is written in bullets, so that cause for concern. Dick is up for chief of police, we find out, and we go over to
Funny
Madonna.
if Dick Tracy was like, "Who's Led Tracy?" Because there's no comma.
He's just dumb as hell. I like a version of this movie where Dick Tracy is stupid, like way dumber than he already is in this. Like a parody of this movie that's not that much different than this.
I don't know
movie.
who Led Tracy is, and I certainly am not going to eat him.
He doesn't pick up on any of Madonna's lines about being wet or
Yeah.
Oh,
He also wasn't chasing that kid; he was chasing the train because he loves trains.
Yeah. Let me get you a towel, Madonna. You seem to be dripping. Right. So Flat Top picks up Lips and Breathless. Lips McCoy or whatever the fuck is a psychopath who just sucks down oysters.
yeah.
Somehow
Also
Madonna
an
ends
actor
up with the
from-
worst men.
Also, an actor from a bunch of mafia movies. Like
He's
these,
in
like-
anything that's got an old Italian man. Paul Sorvino was in it.
There was also he wanted Gene.
Yeah,
Hackman.
that's
Warren
Paul
Beatty.
Sorvino, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, Warren Beatty wanted Gene Hackman to play that role, but he had worked with him on Reds, which was the movie that I believe he was nominated for an Oscar for, and
Mhm.
Gene Hackman was like, "I'm never working with him again. He's terrible. He's a bad director, and I don't like him." And he never did.
Wow. Gene Hackman missed out. He's like the only
Imagine
person
going
from
to an
this
actor
era
you worked with
missing
as a
from this
director,
movie.
and they were just like, "Fuck you, no, not after the shit you put me through on Reds." And you're like, "I don't remember putting you through anything. I thought that was a really good experience."
I can't see Gene Hackman doing that bit part. And be like,
No, but I mean,
You're
yeah,
not
you
the
gotta
main
slurp a bunch of
character.
oysters, and then you're pretty much out of here.
and then I get the cement straight jacket or whatever, the cement.
I killed
tuxedo.
Superman.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
right.
Gene Hackman is not above a campy comic book character, but he is above showing up as a lip-faced oyster monster who gets sunk within the first 5 minutes. Of the movie,
I
maybe.
just put together that he's like a weird lip man who loves oysters that for some reason in my head look like lips. Like I don't know, that makes sense.
He looks like a
Um,
man fish, like a fish man.
Yes, a fish
He
man.
might have gills under there.
Yeah.
So you're telling me I could get a Paul Sorvino action figure right now from eBay?
Jason, you need to maybe cool it on action figures. Right now. You don't have enough space in your home for anymore.
Okay, my wife Madison, who says that to me on the daily. I mean, about an action figure,
And
that
I'm
was
telling you this
weird.
as your pal that comes
Cool
over.
it on the figures. Get some more game vinyls.
Jason
Yes.
has a beautiful display
call them
case
vinyls
that was like
for fun.
repainted and redone, and it's in his house, and it's so nice, but it's just like ram packed to the point of exploding with fucking action figures. And I'm like, maybe get a couple of nice pieces and have it be a centerpiece thing, and not like
I have a
toy
Dan has
chest.
an action figure complete on box. Listen, Dick doesn't want to be no desk jockey, and his girlfriend Tess wants him to marry her. They encounter the kid. At
they
the beginning
encounter
of
the
movie.
kid.
Dick
Yeah,
chases the kid, loses Dick, and we see Kid go into his shack with the Nightmare Man, known as the Tramp, based on this action figure set right here. Which is interesting to note that we know what his fucking name is. It's the Tramp. They have a great fight where
I mean,
he
I like
beats-
my name better.
What was your name for him?
The Train Yard Meat Man.
Oh yeah, the Train Yard
Yeah.
Meat Man. I do like that better. You're right. This fight is great because I mentioned it earlier, but the house like goes to the side and to the side, and then
That's a
breaks
very
forward and
yeah,
they
it's a very
go tussling out of
cartoony,
it.
fun.
You're
thing.
seeing it from that zoomed out view with
Yeah.
the matte painting sitting in
The
the
matte
background.
painting
and
on matte painting, like it's very
yeah.
cool.
It would have
like,
been
I never knew like it was so so dazzling that I never knew
Yeah.
like where one started, where one ended, and like what's a model, you know?
right.
Yeah.
I think for me, like watching this, like it is quite clear, but it's so nicely done that it's magical, right? Where you're like, oh, it's like a story. It's almost like opening a storybook, and then like your eyes pan over to the thing you're supposed to look at, and then it does this sort of seamless transition where it zooms in.
Yeah.
And then, and you're like,
Going
okay.
from one character to another, kind of zooming out and then landing at another place. In the
I kind of wish that instead of them having 20,000 fucking montages, they just had big giant, imagine like, not to go back and rewrite the movie, but like imagine they pull out and like instead of a montage where it's like and like all these fucking cross-fading images of fire and money and people scarfing down food or whatever, you just have this like shot where it zooms out and slowly zooms out to that matte painting, and you just see chaos around the city in different little vignettes.
Yeah.
And you pan across, and then it pans over to where like the club, and he's like, I can't believe we fucking done it over here. We got it. And then it like does another one of those. Like that would be such a cool way of visually showing.
But Steve, there's one thing you have to realize about Dick. He doesn't pull out. Big Boy makes lip sign over the D to the nightclub. Dick makes...
Oh shit! I think Dick just pulled out.
Big Boy makes lip sign over the D to the nightclub. Dick takes the kid back to the diner. Big Boy introduces the idea of the bath, which I thought was a great thing, which is basically
You need a bath.
It's gonna dip you in fucking cement. Not
Is
cement.
Pacino
boots.
doing okay? My impression, is it all right? I don't know if I can tell.
That's mine. One of my better ones.
Great ass. Great ass. Got a great ass.
He's got a great ass. Gives lips the bath. Big Boy takes breathless. But this is the thing that blew my mind. It's like if you defeat a man's husband or boyfriend, you just take the woman. That's a very antiquated.
Well,
how things worked back in the day.
I mean, the
Back
way
in the 1930s.
what's going on in this in this sequence is that he's forcing the man to sign over his entire establishment, which she works for. So
True.
she could be like, "I'm out of here," but like she works for the hottest club in town. So why would she's like?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't give a shit about lips. He's fucking gross. She calls him a Zeppelin.
Yeah, she calls him
Yeah.
Zeppelin at one point
Okay, so sorry.
as he's
stop you
slamming
there.
fucking oysters.
This is up to the point where I'm still wondering what's with all the mutants.
Right. You still
And when she calls him a Zeppelin, I wrote down that note like, wait, is that what we're gonna call all the mutants?
yeah. Is that what the mutants are called in this
And I'm
world?
like,
Yeah.
and expecting at some point, 15 minutes down the line, they're going to be talking about like, oh, the Zeppelins. They all had, they were all regular people.
They
at
got
one
dipped
point,
in
but they got
chemical Z.
dipped in the vat. Yeah.
Chemical
They
Z.
all fell in a fucking vat, and this is what happens.
Actually, they probably
Adult
call it chemical-
mutant Zeppelin
They probably
ninjas.
would call it Chemical Z. They'd be like,
They got dumped in chemical Z. There was chemical Z in the food.
they got Z poisoning. It's like lead poisoning for boomers.
Adult mutant Zeppelin ninjas.
But it only
adult-
works in Canada and the UK because Z. Yeah.
No,
adult
that's
mutant
not true.
Zeppelin
Because
gangsters actually creates a AMZG, which is like amazing. So that's interesting. Is that anything?
also, I just wanted to point out that in Pulp Fiction, Z.
Oh, Z.
Zed.
Like Zed.
Oh yeah, that is
yeah.
dead. That is dead. Pacino and Dustin Hoffman, crazy. I had both of their action figures. That's real. The notes I took earlier.
What are you doing in there, Jason? I'm playing with Dustin Hoffman and Al Pacino. Leave me alone. You're not burying them again, are you?
Yes,
What?
they get
trying
buried.
to win them an
Pacino
Oscar.
gets buried. Yeah. Dick is. I'm making Toka from Ninja Turtles movie fight Ratface. Dick
Dustin
is going
Hoffman.
yeah. Dick is going to send Kid to an orphanage. Dick goes to the call. Kid and Tiff bond during.
Well, I
this
mean, we should
sequence,
probably
which
talk
is
about this a
fun
little
moment.
bit. Is that
Yeah, it is a
Go
little
suck
bit
an
of a-
egg.
the dynamic? Yeah, go suck an egg, which I love. I was watching that with Danny, and then Danny's like, "I'm pretty sure you've told me to go suck an egg," and I'm like, "What?" It's like, yeah, you used to pretend to be a gangster when you were like a little bit too drunk. You'd be like, "Man, see, you go suck an egg," and I was like, "Oh,
That feels like a comic code kind of thing.
yeah."
Or that just like anytime somebody was going to tell you like suck my
Suck a
dick,
dick,
on,
yeah.
and in a
Suck an
comic
egg.
or during the code era of film, it's just like, well, just let's say egg.
Suck an egg or go suck a lemon.
Stop touching your Pacino.
I do like the dynamic between the kid and Trueheart. I think it's sweet, but I think that there wasn't enough of it. And I also think it makes the fact that there wasn't enough of it makes the character of the kid almost not really need to exist. And I understand that he was a character in the strip, and like I feel like
That's the thing. Yeah.
we didn't really talk about Warren Beatty's love of Dick Tracy a lot, but like he does love Dick Tracy. And Jason, you said to me, like, you're like, I think that he thinks that Dick Tracy is Batman. And I'm like, I don't think that he thinks that Dick Tracy is Batman, but I do think that he thinks Dick Tracy is the coolest fucking guy that ever existed. So it's like
Batman.
He is making, well, that's what you think Batman is, right? But he thinks Dick Tracy, he probably actually believes that Dick Tracy could beat Batman up in a fight.
He spent his youth in the 30s in the schoolyard just telling other kids, like, no, Batman's a pussy. It's all about Dick Tracy.
There's an interesting moment in this movie that it's very much Batman and then Dick Tracy, where Dick Tracy jumps through like a window.
But he did that in the comics. He didn't make this shit up.
No, I know. But listen to me for a second. He jumps through the ceiling window, right? It's like, and then 2 seconds later, they set up an elaborate like seesaw jump situation, which reminds me of what a Dick Tracy gag would be. So,
right.
I understand what you're saying. I also wanted to point out that Dick Tracy comes down from a skylight and then does a seesaw gag. So
also Warren Beatty
learned the most from this movie.
Warren Beatty also said that, like, you know, he learned to read because of comic strips, right? Like he had a tough time reading.
You were going to say because during the production
for this movie, he learned.
He's like, I never knew how to read before this. No, but he learned how to read because of the Dick Tracy comic strips. But he learned how to read because of comic strips in general. But the Dick Tracy ones were the ones that really like stood out to him, and he was the most interested in. And when this opportunity came by, because this movie was also, since the Superman movies, there was interest in making a Dick Tracy movie. But then Warren Beatty eventually was like, I'm going to buy this and I'm going to make it. And then that's when like Hollywood in general finally was like, all right, Beatty's in. He could probably call in every single person that's ever been in a mafia movie ever, right? I mean, he's got sway, Hollywood sway, and probably blackmail on a bunch of these.
Where's Joe Pesci though?
Joe Pesci, he probably was like, I ain't being in so fucking Dick. I don't, unless I'm Dick Tracy. I'm not.
Actually, I know where Joe Pesci is. I'm realizing he was in Home Alone this year. Or he was
Home
making
Alone
Home
came
Alone.
out in 1990.
Yeah, 90 or 91.
Goodfellas is our.
It is this year. Yeah, he was probably like, listen, Warren Beatty,
I'm not doing that fucking Dick Tracy bullshit.
Who would he
I just
play?
watched Small Man.
He play the kid, probably.
It's me. It's fucking Small Man.
Suck a lemon or whatever.
Yeah. He would have to have a massive part. I watched My Cousin Vinny today, and what a fucking heartwarming mafioso flick.
The best.
What a nice movie. What a fun, nice movie. Like he has all the like bravado of like a Goodfellas, but it's just a vehicle for Joe Pesci and Marissa Tomei to just have so much charisma. Fuck.
Yeah, and his examinations of the witnesses are so funny. He's talking to the guy about making grits, and being like,
you think in your house your grits absorb water faster than anybody else's grits, and for some reason that helps.
Like if it takes everybody 15 minutes to make grits, and you say you saw them 5 minutes apart, like what is that? And he's just like, I guess I'm a fast cook. Oh, My Cousin Vinny. All right.
Shit.
Okay, let's just turn this into a Vinny.
Yeah.
And Vinny.
They find
Cousin Vinny, sorry.
They find the walnuts at the scene of the crime, and they call in Flat Top.
And an earring. Don't forget the earring.
They find the earring, and they are cooperative, so he interrogates Mumbles, and they do terrible thing. I think they do a war crime to Mumbles based on how sweaty he is.
What, by denying him water?
Yeah, you can't.
Well, but also if you look at his body, he is.
They do take his pants off.
Yeah,
true. And they also take his pants off. What
they
are
got
they doing
the light
to this man?
Yeah.
Well, if anything that you hear about Dustin Hoffman is true, is that he showed up to a set like that. They're like, Dustin, your pants are in your dressing room, and he's like, and then he sat down or whatever. Like, I guess we're gonna do the scene without the pants. Can we bring him his pants? They put it on the table next to it. It's like, well, now it at least looks like he took his pants off in the scene, and it's not weird.
Can we zoom in and crop out the pants? Like, well, no, we already got this frame, and this frame is proof. Let's go.
It's a wide shot. We have to do this. They bring in a weird polar bear water cooler thing where it pisses out water or whatever, and
it's got like a faucet on it.
It's so weird. You're like, what is this? Like, what is
a massive reveal for that later too that we'll get to? But I was like, what the fuck?
It is like such a stupid twist as well, which is so it's so dumb, and you're like, what the fuck? Okay. Well, at least now my mind is a little bit cooled off as to why they had this big, weird water. It's not a regular water cooler. It's not even like a slightly comical water cooler. It's like a thing that you would never see anywhere.
Well, it felt like I've never seen the movie Toys, which was another movie that we were like, why is this Tim Burton-esque?
Yeah.
Well, again, now that you've told me about the surrealism of...
Yeah. It's like it is a visual style that cannot always be just connected to Tim Burton, because that means that art didn't exist before Tim Burton and didn't exist after Tim Burton. And
no, you're right. You're right.
Just Tim Burton.
This podcast is an educational thing for me, and I'm glad that you laid it out like that, because it's
okay for you to make the connection visually, because there is a strong one. But to say that this is aping off Tim Burton's style when he's only been he's not even fully an affluent director at this point, to the point.
Well, that's why I was so confused, and that was my question. I'm like, how is he doing it so well? How is Warren Beatty?
It's because Tim cinematographer, but even Tim Burton strayed away from his own style, because it's not his style. Right. Like, he has his comedic influence and his visual cues that he uses, but like, I think if Tim Burton directed this movie, it would be way fucking funnier. It'd be way more interesting, and like every weird Googa man would probably die in a more horrific way, and I would have liked.
And there'd be 9 of these fucking movies at this point.
And Dick Tracy would have had, I don't know, like Dick Fingers or something.
I'm Dick Finger Hands.
Dick Finger Hands. Why are they making scissor sounds? Don't worry about it, Jack.
What's the sound of like a 5 penises rubbing up against each other? Yeah, there you go.
Breathless is practicing a funny scene with Pacino. I wrote funny scene, but it's actually...
But also, Tim Burton wouldn't have asked him for a Batman soundtrack. He would have asked him for an appropriate soundtrack to this movie. He would have been like, just do Batman again. If you listen to like Tim Burton's soundtracks throughout his career that have been done by Danny Elfman, he almost never asks him to do the exact same thing that he's done every time. He gets him to do something wild and different almost every time. He never wants his movies to sound exactly the same as one another, which I think we can all appreciate.
Except for Beetlejuice 1 and Beetlejuice 2.
Well, I mean, that's because he doesn't do sequels very often, but I get what you're saying.
I know.
Yeah. I was trying to think of like what's the most similar. I'm like, maybe like Sleepy Hollow and Edward Scissorhands kind of have similar traits to them, but there's also like 12 years between those movies, right?
I wanted to tell you guys this too. While I'm watching Dick Tracy, in my office, they show movies at lunchtime. They were showing Edward Scissorhands. They were playing Edward Scissorhands like 50 feet away from me. So while I'm watching this movie, the Edward Scissorhands score has bled into this a little bit. Yeah.
You're like, oh shit.
So I had a unique situation where it was like Elfman on Elfman.
Well,
Elfception.
Elfception, yeah. That's the name
I like
of his new album. And was also
I like
the
90s retro expressionism
in high school. Mm-hmm. He also he did a bunch of other soundtracks for a ton of other directors that I love, but like I think my other main one is Sam Raimi, right? Like he did like the Darkman soundtrack, and he did the biggest Spider-Man, yeah. Which like I remember seeing Spider-Man for the first time and being like, this is weird and too gothic and too epic, and like it doesn't feel like Spider-Man to me. It feels like Batman to me. But then after seeing 3 of those Spider-Man movies, like I would never go without the Tim Burton soundtrack of the Spider-Man.
Did you know that Danny Elfman also does a version of the Alvin Silvestri? What's his name? Anyway,
Alan Silvestri?
Alan Silvestri does the Avengers theme, but in Age of Ultron, Danny Elfman does that soundtrack. So there's a version of the Avengers theme that Danny Elfman does, which is pretty.
He also did the Multiverse of Madness soundtrack, which is has a bunch of Doctor Strange stuff in there as well, which you're like, damn, this is pretty cool. He knows he can take an existing theme and like twist it into his weird Elfman world.
I think the Elfman version of the Avengers theme is better than like the original.
I'm just waiting for the.
Are you implying that he's half elf, half man?
I'm gonna say. I'm gonna go ahead and say.
Have you looked at him before? Have you ever seen Danny Elfman in real life?
He looks like
he always hanging out in the woods.
He looks like if he is not half elf, that he at least was raised by elves,
or his grandfather was an elf.
Have you ever seen him as a child? Maybe he's 100 years old.
That's true. That's true.
Not. And he's looked the same his whole career too, basically.
Well,
weird science. He's been doing weird science on himself this entire time.
My heart into my hand.
Okay. Anyway.
Okay.
We're never gonna
so Breathless is practicing in a scene with Pacino going full Pacino. This is where I was like, Big Play Caprice reminds me of the Penguin. Random Kathy Bates.
It's weird because like he didn't really remind me of the Penguin, except for like the makeup, I guess, like the dark circles, and I guess the fact that he's like
a lot.
But they're very different
in all villains in this motif.
But they do feel like if they existed in the same world, which in my mind canon, Dick Tracy's universe is like the San Francisco to the New York that is Gotham or whatever, right?
Then they'd have a whack off.
Yeah, just replace Falcone.
You just they'd have a whack off.
Wah.
Oh, okay.
Wah.
We didn't get I listened to another one of the episodes in this block, so I realized that you've probably been exposed to a lot of transatlanticism.
A little bit, yeah.
But there's none of that sort of, and there's also no there's not a lot of math.
Well, we only did the
radio,
which is good because it's you
great.
Don't expect it.
And the radio is doing the transatlantic accent, but nobody else in the movie is really doing transatlantic.
Maybe Itchy. He's the only one who's
I guess
he's like he's on the line, right? Where he's kind of it's more like a like he's just doing this laugh where you're like expecting him to go meh at the end, but he doesn't actually ever do it. Yeah.
Played by Edo Ross.
He kept trying to sneak that in there.
8,000 fucking crime movies.
Yeah.
I bet you that Warren Beatty was like, as soon as somebody did that with their makeup on, he's like, don't do that shit on my set. None of that shit. We're real. We're real in this town. And it's like, bro, I'm wearing like 14 pounds of rubber.
That's
listen. It's not. See, it's yes. See,
my theory about this movie. Warren Beatty wanted to make a serious Oscar contender crime movie, but everybody looks insane, and all of the color palettes are insane, and the music's insane. It's a musical, and Madonna's there.
You know, I'll go ahead and say that Warren Beatty seems like a psychopath, but I don't think that he's that crazy. I think he knew what he was fucking making. Like he wanted to make.
Why didn't it get this is what nominated for 7 Oscars?
Because it's Warren Beatty. That's why. That's the only reason.
Everybody around Hollywood, or
getting
blown for votes and whatnot.
Payolas.
This is what Warren Beatty did. I like this thing from when I was a little kid. What if everybody else likes this thing from when I was a little kid? I now have the clout in Hollywood to make this thing that I liked when I was a little kid into something that everybody will like. And that's what he did. And then he made it. And that's why he's still clutching onto it. It's like, you know how they say millennials and Gen X, like don't want to share their toys with anybody else. Like that's why every Gen X person who says they love Star Wars will shit on every new Star Wars thing that comes out. That's why everybody who's our age does the same thing to things that we loved 20 years ago. Yeah, but that's what we think. But then there's little kids who watch the shit that we think sucks.
They made April O'Neil black. Bro, if you read the original comics, April O'Neil's black, you stupid fuck.
Okay,
also,
that's not the commentary.
How am I supposed to jack into this?
Yeah.
Oi.
That's not the road I was trying to lead.
That's what I exclaimed in the theater. Not well received.
Yeah. And then that's why I was removed from the theater.
Yeah.
And that's why I was removed from all theaters in perpetuity.
And that's why I'm banned from Cineplex Odeon in every single province in Canada and several of the northern United States.
Somehow I'm
you ever tried doing the penis in the popcorn trick on yourself?
I'm just jacking off of my own popcorn. Okay, we gotta move forward in this movie.
I mean, I'm glad that you guys got that bit out, but I didn't get to finish my point.
Okay, I'm sorry, Steven.
It's fine. We'll move on. It's fine. Warren Beatty is just a petty Gen X millennial style boomer where he took something that he loved and he didn't want to fucking share it with anybody else. And that's why he won't he won't get his old crusty fucking claws out of Dick Tracy and let somebody else make it, is because it's his toy. And he's like, only I get to have the toy of Dick Tracy. And you can have all the shitty toys that were made in the 90s that no one gives a shit anymore, but this is mine. And that's why I keep this suit in a fucking hyperbolic chamber or whatever. It's sealed of all oxygen. Yeah. No moths will get near it. And I'm going to pop it out every 10 years, throw it on, and do a weird interview where I am Dick Tracy and I'll maintain the rights.
I think you're right. He's worried about what they might do with Dick Tracy. Or they'll just take it and make up a woke
turn
Tracy.
it into like an
woke Tracy. And then his name was Tracy, Dick Tracy.
The
whole movie will be like a Bourne movie, and then at the end you're like,
we don't need no education.
Like a big chicken. Yeah, and as that's happening, we don't need no education. It's the kid, and he's running, and it's raining, and he like trips, and you see
no
sandwich, and he eats it,
control,
and then it's flat down, and he's like, and it says like, "Fuck your dead mother, Tracy," on the wall. Zack Snyder.
Yeah, Zack Snyder gets the rights to Dick Tracy, and it's just the worst. Listen, the polar bear has a
he's scared that they would give it away to like a person that would make it too hard edged, and it wouldn't be fun anymore.
Well, wasn't Dick Tracy tangentially owned by a DC situation? Isn't it somewhere in the DC universe? Like, if you go back far enough,
it's a comic strip. It was never an actual comic book series, so I don't think.
Are you sure about that?
It became a comic book series before the movie was released in a bunch of comics that were released in, I think, just to explain almost the backstory to this movie. That's why this movie feels like it's the end of a story where you're like,
they took the strips and then they just.
But there's also like a compendium. There's like compendiums you can get of Dick Tracy where it's just like all the comics, because the comic strips were like, tune in next week to see how Dick Tracy gets out of Wrinklehead's trap or whatever. Like it was that kind of shit. But it was never like
it's stuck in a wrinkle on your forehead.
It was never like a Batman style comic book series where you could buy a monthly issue or whatever. I'm pretty sure I'm right. I could be wrong, and if I am, I apologize to the entire internet.
Well, we'll never know.
But I do know that it was started in. Dick Tracy was started in 1931, I think, 1931, and then Batman was started in 1939. And that's like one of those things where I'm like, Batman definitely took a lot of influence from something like this and became a better version of what Dick Tracy is, right?
Dick Tracy appears to have been a comic book. Like, full stop. Like,
okay. Well, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I did do.
Let's record this again.
Not only that, but Dick Tracy encounters Facey, and it's just two pictures of Dick Tracy. We just saw that's the sequel. That's the sequel we watched.
Are you sure that this isn't the series that was created just to advertise this movie that I'm talking about?
No, this is Gladstone Comics.
And when was this made?
Looks like, let me see here. Let me take a look. See, 1991. No, well, that's after.
Oh, so what I said was true then. Thank you.
But it's in the style of the old school Dick Tracy. That's what I'm confused about.
I'm going to blow your mind right now, Jason. You can draw in any style that exists with your hands. Like you can create it. Yeah, you can recreate a style. It's pretty easy.
All right, wait, you're saying I can make my own King of the Hill?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You
can call it Bling of the Hill?
You can call it King Dick.
Wow.
Whoa. That's a good name.
Okay. There's a comic strip here that looks like a page of a comic book from 1938 that I don't think was in the newspaper this way. It looks like a full comic, but maybe it was. I don't know. This is all very confusing.
Well, I did a little.
Yeah,
I did
you're
do
right.
I did research. Like I'm not just saying this out my ass. Like I don't know what I'm talking about. Like I did do a bit of
True.
research to make sure I wasn't gonna just say something absolutely stupid and asinine out of my fucking mouth.
Listen, I just did a bit, and that's all I did. I did no research. I just did a bit.
Combine your bits.
Yeah.
All right. Combine your bits is what they used to scream at me in the high school locker.
They used to punch me in the face and say,
Combine
your
your
bits!"
bits. Combine your bits. Oh, I want to go home.
All right.
Why do they make me
Speaking
come
going
here
home,
every day?
Dick goes in to pick up Big Boy.
Big combinations.
Dick goes back to talk to Breathless. Holy shit! I didn't know Madonna did nudity in this. This is this scene where she like kind of half seduces him, but she's fully topless, which was crazy. I did
This
not.
is when my
expect
brain
that.
went from like, who is this for, to like, this isn't for kids.
Exactly.
But then like it goes back down to like, this is kind of for kids the whole time. Where I'm like, were they allowed to just show tits?
Is this where she says the black panties line?
Yeah, but you can also see
Yeah.
her nipples
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
fully
fully.
with your
Oh, yeah.
eyes.
Full areola.
Oh,
What is this movie
Um,
rated? Is it PG-13?
That's what I'm concerned.
It's
about. I'm
rated
concerned about the-
PG? What? You
Wow.
see nipples. You see
You
Madonna nipples in this movie.
yeah. Oh, as
Look,
long
Madonna
as they
had
didn't
a-
say fuck.
Madonna had a book out at this time where it had lots of
She
new
also had her
pictures
tits out
there.
at this time.
Yeah.
In this movie.
But there's a famous SNL sketch where it's like a person. It's Phil Hartman reading, like doing a book on tape for her book Sex, and he goes, "I like to stare at my. Sometimes I stare at my vagina in the mirror.
Oh, I thought
Sometimes I stare at my vagina and wonder what it would look like if it didn't have any hair," which is like a
Oh,
line from
God.
the book. So she was a sex pot, sort of sex icon. I wouldn't
Yeah.
say sort of.
Yeah, you could
She
say
was
that.
the sex
absolutely. I
icon.
think that's what she's primarily known as. She's a
I
person
like
that-
my vagina.
But also, her character is that in this movie, right? She's a femme
She's,
fatale.
she's a real hussy. Tell you
She's
that.
a femme fatale in the way that like she has a very difficult life that she has not necessarily chosen for herself. We don't know anything about her past, anything about her life outside of what's happening in this movie, other than that she didn't like her spot with Lips. Lips was kind of a gross guy, but like maybe didn't treat her as bad as Big Boy does, which we then see. But you know, we never see what Lips was all about. But she seems pretty happy to shed that mink, or she's not wearing a mink, right? It's a fur coat, and he's like,
Nobody wears mink or they wear nothing around at all around me. Oh, I like boobies.
and she's like, lucky for you, I'm good with nothing on as well as with minks on or whatever.
Mhm.
With boobies.
But she's a femme fatale in the classic sense that like she weaponizes her sexuality absolutely the entire time in this movie, where like she gets what she wants via being like, you want to touch me, don't you? And like she's met her match with Dick Tracy, who is, I guess, like frozen like a deer in headlights every time she hits on him. He's like,
Huh?
he looks like he's like about to like sneeze and he can't quite get it
He's
out.
like that
every
in
single
most
time.
scenes, though, unless he's in action, like he's trying to do action. Anytime people are talking to him, Warren Beatty plays this character like he's like,
It's like it's almost like he's got a little bit of food in his mouth and he's like
Yeah.
not sure if he's supposed to swallow it or not. Or he's like, can I swallow this right
Warren,
now?
what's your secret? Oh, I just keep a few raisins in my cheese every time I go to line.
But then there was a few times where I accidentally ate the raisins, so I bought these.
Cut! I need more
I
raisins.
don't have good enough raisins in my
Where's
cheese.
my raisin boy?
It's me. I'm the kid from the fucking Hook movie.
No, he's
Put
like,
some
I'm Raisin
raisins in my
Boy.
mouth, boy.
Raisin Boy is a
But I'm in
character.
the movie.
Raisin Boy is a character from Dick Tracy, and he looks like
Definitely, yeah.
Prune Face, but he's just got like a weird raisiny
But
face.
it's one of
not
it's
as
one of
pruny.
kid,
He's an
It's
orphan.
one of
he's
Kid's
a bully
villains.
at the orphan. So
yeah, Kid has his own set of villains, I assume, if
Mhm,
there are
yeah.
enough of these movies come out.
Raisin
Boy, who puts the
Mhm.
raisins in Warren Beatty. Warren Beatty, also a character in this fucking universe, probably based on what we've learned
Sure.
about the two
Yeah.
sequels that are just interviews that are insane.
Yep, you're right.
Yep.
I've been driven insane by those two interviews, by the way. I can't stop thinking about how they are canon, and it makes me crazy that they are canon.
I never have been able to make my way through that without you guys here.
I assume that when
both of them today,
in the way that I
do it.
Like, I know that Warren Beatty is clearly an insane person who does this, which is like a funnier thing. But if we want to make it so that Dick Tracy is real at the end of this, like a portal opens after the interviews, right? And like Dick Tracy like walks through. He's like, well, I got to go back to my weird lit town where everything's only 6
I got to go
colors.
back to Hollywood, California in 2008.
Everyone's white and everybody's got a weird mutation, but I like it there. See you later.
Dick, what's the next thing?
Kid.
Dick goes home. Dick kisses Tess. Dick goes to the police station. Walnuts don't give up the prince. Dick Tracy has to answer to the DA. He wants to take Dick off duty, and
Dick off duty is what I say on Sundays.
It's a dick off.
That's what they call me every day. He wants to take Dick off duty, and he wants to take him off duty for trying to take Big Boy in illegally.
Oh my God, not in the mic.
That's right. Dick and Kid talk suits while Flat Top looks on.
That's what the montage right over the fucking DA.
Look, we covered Dick, okay? We've been talking about Dick this whole time, and Dick Van Dyke, sorry if you got lost in the fray, but Dick Van Dyke is the DA. Dick Van Dyke is very by the book. Dick Van Dyke is bought off. The DA is bought off by Big Bike Caprice, which we'll find out later. Dick and Kid talk suits. They go to get the suits made because Kid needs Dick clothes.
I think this is also one of the reasons why this movie
I'm saying Kid needs Dick.
I'm trying not to.
It is one of the reasons why this movie is so difficult to sort of wrap your head around, because everybody that you see is a recognizable face, and even the ones that like aren't, they keep popping up, and you're like, well, Dick Van Dyke is going to be maybe like the main villain, right? Because Dick Van Dyke is a huge name. He's one of like the Hollywood golden figures that has ever existed in all of Hollywood.
In 1990, Dick Van Dyke was as big as it gets. I fully agree with you.
So like having him as the DA in your fucking Dick Tracy movie is like, it feels like it should be more than a cameo. So your spider sense of watching a movie is everywhere, and it's being triggered by everything in this movie, because everybody, if you want to watch
so Dick Tracy was covered every night on Entertainment Tonight by Entertainment Tonight. Dick Van Dyke would have had his own segment about his bit part.
Yeah, he'd be dressed as the character, and he'd be like, well, I when they asked me to do, when Warren showed up and asked me to do this, I said, well, sure. I mean, you need me to do a musical number? And there are a lot of musical numbers in this, but I decided not to do any for this. Or did I? Ha ha! And you're like, is Dick Van Dyke gonna sing and dance in this movie at his old ass age?
He better, or else I'm leaving the theater.
We're gonna riot. We're all gonna riot. There's like a part of me that I'm like, is Dick Van Dyke gonna be No Face? And then Dick Van Dyke gets killed by No Face, and you're like, oh, he's not.
Dick asks Tess to move in with him, kind of walks her to the door, and there's just a drive-by.
Well, this is the other thing.
Up by the drive-by.
When people are like, autism doesn't exist, like old people say that autism doesn't exist.
I think Warren Beatty is autistic.
Okay, that's not what I was going to say, but I was going to say that, like,
let's go along with your train comment from earlier.
A little bit, yeah. Dick Tracy might be, and so is his girlfriend, and they both have difficulty expressing like what they want from each other, while also being very clear about what they do want. So like they don't really express what they want from each other in a way that is cohesive and understandable, but they are very good at expressing what they want for themselves. And this is a thing that, like, some people have difficulty with, where he's like, we want to talk about people living together, and then she's like, well, I love living alone, and she's just answering honestly and how she feels, whereas he's also like, well, I do too. And then we know he loves trains because he chases them, and then she's obsessed with the greenhouse, and it's like these obsessions that they have in their lives where it takes over everything, that their whole personality is wrapped up in the maintenance of the greenhouse. And then everything that she says, I did like this about her character, is like, as she's leaving his house, she's like, you should probably water those. Like, she sees his lilies are wilting, which I like that. She clearly is the one bringing him lilies, which is another thing that we see later in the movie when when her letter comes, lilies are delivered, and it's his color, yellow. He likes yellow.
Well, you
Right?
see,
She's
has a
too good for him. She's too good for him.
She is
true. I agree with that.
I got
she has
no
a
issue
line
with
that
Beth
says
throughout
when you
the whole thing. I'll always cheer for the redheaded love interest in a movie. Let's go.
she has a line that's where she goes, when you play in the street, it's part of the game. Just don't ask me to like it. And this whole subplot is about the fact that Dick Tracy wants to continue to be this like private investigator, even though in this era he's sort of getting on in years, and he's up for the chief of police job, which is very much like you dictate.
He doesn't want it.
He doesn't want it. He wants to go out there and be a stray dog. But she's kind of like, you don't even have to do that much. You have to just like not run when I try to be like bring up emotions. Don't listen into your weird iPhone watch and run away. Which I think this movie works better now, where
That's
we
why
actually
most of my
have
partners have left.
phones on our watches. I think this works better in 2025 than it does, in 1990.
No, I mean, it's understandable now that you'd be like, "Oh, I got a watch I can talk into," but back then it was like, "Whoa, he's got a watch he can talk into."
In the 1930s, that's like, what are you talking about? That's impossible.
Even 90s.
He says that in the interview that we watched earlier. We kind of like didn't hear it, but he goes like, I thought the height of technology was going to be me talking into my radio watch. And he does like a crazy booming laugh. And I'm like, that's actually funny. And I think that like the writing in that thing is actually kind of good. It's just like everything else about it is bad. Like those huge, massive pregnant pauses. And like, it's just so poorly put together.
And nobody can do any sort of like everybody in it's bad at improv. I think that Warren Beatty, if it was all written, it would be fine.
I don't think that the newest host is doing that bad of act. I think he's like his whole thing of being like, okay. Like, I think he's doing okay.
That's his shtick for all of it. He's like, it's absurd that we have Turner Classic Movies to begin with, and that's kind of his that's his thing. Like how ridiculous.
But I think that he's doing fine. But I think
which
that
is
Warren
good.
Beatty, who came to him with
you.
this idea, where also those huge, massive pregnant pauses at the end are absolutely because they needed to stretch it to 24 minutes in order for him to maintain the rights. He's like, we need 13 more seconds. He's like, I don't know, maybe like put a couple more seconds in between.
Yeah, I think they were editing in pauses there.
Yeah,
that's crazy. So we get the big femme fatale scene where Breathless Mahoney comes in to Dick's office for questioning. She's flirting extremely hard. And I was like, my parents let me watch this. He called her in because he wants her to get on the stand and testify against Big Boy. But she basically is like, I'll die if that happens. He also clocks that she's only wearing one earring, which is the earring that he found earlier.
He doesn't clock it. He knew this from
he saw it in a previous.
Well, they show it to us.
Okay. But okay, so hold on. He finds it at the walnut factory or whatever they kill that guy in. and then later when he goes to arrest Big Boy, she's clearly wearing one. Yeah. She only has one big ass dangling earring while she's doing these fucking dance numbers. And he sees it. And then, he brings her in and she's like, she's not wearing it in this scene. Like,
well, I think he just brings it up here. Then
no, he drops it into her fucking champagne glass.
He drops it. Yeah, he drops it in her champagne.
And glass. It's a really nice shot. It's like both of their faces in profile, and they're both like just kind of like hardly lit on both sides. When I say hardly, I mean like harsh lighting is lighting them like an old noir comic would be. And he just like bling. And like one of the things that I hate in movies is when shit doesn't like sizzle, like something that's supposed to be bubbly doesn't, and like that thing sizzles hard when he drops the earring into it. I was like, okay, this movie's all right. There's some good shit in this movie, and that
speaking of sizzling, is this the scene where she greets him at the door saying something to the effect of like, I'm a fresh peach, I'm starting to run a little,
Oh God, yes,
Yeah.
and she gets on the table like an animal that wants to get fucked, and you're like, excuse me, I thought there were children in the audience. This is a PG
She's
movie.
basically just coming to the door, being like, "I'm wet."
Dick Tracy looks directly at her ass, like, wow.
This is also one of those things where, like, when we were kids, right? Like, movies that were PG would just have these over sexualized moments that are like
True.
throbbing with horniness that they're like, kids aren't going to understand it, but the parents are going to find it funny because it's like, isn't it funny?
Dads are gonna love Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah, or they're going to love.
True, but like with these movies, there's like a 1 year difference between you not understanding it and you also being like, what is fucking going on?
All right, Jason, we don't need to learn about your perverted childhood era.
I'm just saying what's real. I'm just talking about.
Well, I was going to give another example that I thought was very good before you decided to talk about your 9-year-old boners or whatever. You freak. So you remember the Flintstones? Halle Berry. Remember how horny Halle was? Also a PG movie where Halle Berry is just being like a crazy sexual character on screen.
Yeah, she's trying to bang Kyle MacLachlan through that whole shit.
And Fred Flintstone too.
And
she's basically trying to bang everybody, and you're like, but she's not. She's weaponizing her sexuality, and that's a thing that like movies used to try and teach us as children. I guess is like you can weaponize your sexuality, and also if you're a boy, be scared of weaponized sexuality because it's always lies.
What a strange thing to teach children.
What a horrible thing to teach children. That's why they don't do it anymore. It's like illegal now. You cannot put that into a movie without getting the PG-13. But the fact that in the early 90s, this got a PG, and so did the Flintstones, and so did countless other movies. Jessica Rabbit, like we're going to do Roger Rabbit, I think next week or the week after. Like that's another one where it's like Robert Zemeckis has been throwing giant tits in his movies since he was making them. And he's like, you know what? Children need to learn about boom, 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 boom.
Children need to learn about big, fat cartoon titties. Okay, and what if they came to the real world, or what if you were real and went to their world?
Listen,
and
if I was a kid,
you don't want them learning. You don't want them learning on the streets. You know,
yeah, you don't want to learn about cartoons becoming real and real becoming cartoons on the streets. What if somebody? What
cartoons? You'll get cartoon VD.
But like so many people went to go see Roger Rabbit, and they clutched the armrests in the theater and they went tunes and they left and they like we can't have this anymore.
All right, Big Boy calls a summit with all the gangster. He makes a call back. They get mostly everybody except for one. Dick climbs the building, and while he's up there, the gangsters that leave, we see the car explode. Dick escapes by lamppost. We see.
I was going to ask you guys about this meeting. So this meeting scene feels like a
20 minutes long.
It's way. Well, I mean, we already talked about how it's way too long. But like, doesn't it also feel like that scene in Batman '89, but way worse? Like, you know, in Batman '89 when he's like. When he shocks the guy and he's like, oh, it's a hot town tonight. Like, remember when he like electrifies the guy and kills him and he turns into a skeleton, and it's like legitimately frightening as a child. Whereas this is not frightening. It's just like a tense scene between weirdos looking at each other, and then the car blows up.
Is this also kind of the same scene as in The Dark Knight where he has the summit?
Yeah, yes.
And
the eyeball. Yeah. You want to make me
I'm gonna make this pencil disappear. And then he's like, I got, let's sign up for my.
It is. And this is a quintessential crime movie scene where a bunch of crime people are around a table and something scary happens to inform who is actually in charge, right? You need that in a crime movie. This is a crime movie, but nothing about that scene screamed like we're in control here, other than the car blowing up. Where it's like, nobody else in that scene ever questions him. We never learn anything else about any of those characters. In something like The Dark Knight, which Jason just brought up, we learn a little bit about every one of those characters before the Joker shows up. The Joker shows up and fucks with them, and then he explains to them why he's in charge. His character here just says like, I've got an idea. Every single time somebody eats a piece of pastrami
or buys a lemon, or gets the beard trimmed,
We get
or
5
gets the
cents,
nipples flicked,
10
we get
cents.
a couple of dollars on
We
top
get
of
a
the dollar.
nickel or a dime.
But
Yeah.
it's like he doesn't give you us a real plan. Like there's no
Well,
plan.
he has the ultimate 4-word affirmation that's going to put everybody in line, and that is, "I am the law."
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say,
And
Trust me,
so-
bro.
No, I am the law. So this came out when you think of I am the law, or at least when I think of I am the law in movies, I think of Judge Dredd,
right?
Right.
Stallone
Which is
being
like
like, I
91
am
and
the
92,
law.
right?
And I've always attributed that to him. But yeah, this happens 5 years prior to, is the same line delivered with the same sort of emphasis.
It was
So
crazy.
I've
Also, when
been
he
giving
said,
Stallone
I'm
all the
Judge
credit.
Judy and executioner.
after,
Yeah.
after that,
Yeah, and then like, and everybody's like, "What's Judge Judy?"
yeah, and he's like,
Yeah,
You'll
and he's
know
like,
in a couple
"You'll
years.
You'll
find
know in
out."
a couple of years, yeah. When
yeah.
there's gonna be a writer's strike, and then they'll need reality shows, and then everybody's gonna put their fucking problems on television
I've always said this
forever.
though. Like, if they ever were to make
Ooh-ah.
a Judge Judy like biopic or something, like a movie of the story of Judge Judy, I've always thought
Pacino
that
would play her.
Al Pacino,
Yeah.
Al Pacino. Play.
That sounds like
You hopped on that joke before I could even get to the end of it.
sounds
That was gonna be the
gag
joke.
from an Adam Sandler movie. That's fucking sounds exactly like what you would see.
You think you can just walk into my fucking courtroom and talk to me like that?
Yeah.
That's fucking funny.
Oh, so
Tracy,
the real judge is dead. We need this actor to play the judge.
I am the law.
Anyway, I am the law. He did it first, not Stallone. 5 years prior to. So if you hear anybody saying "I am the law," they're quoting.
True.
What's this, Dick Face?
Dick Face. Yeah.
Dick Face.
His
Yeah,
name's
they're all
Dick
Dick
Face.
Face.
or something like that. Yeah.
Tracy introduced the kid to toothbrushing. Someone comes to the door. They say it's the welfare person. It's actually Flat Top and Itchy.
Also,
but the kid is already
powder, which
bounced
is
out the
crazy.
window.
Powder tooth.
It's
It's not
not
even
that
toothpaste. It's
insane.
just
Well,
tooth
that's-
powder. Yeah.
That's what they
Powder
used
was a thing.
because your spit would like activate it or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
technically,
sure.
we could still use that as a means to brush our teeth. But
Yeah,
like,
but
so weird, right?
We're not
Toothpaste
we're not
technology.
cavemen here.
yeah,
We're not
we're-
powdered cave.
We're civilized people. We can use a
We
a
get our stuff
modified
from
paste.
squeeze tubes now.
Yeah, that's right. I get all
Like
my
you-
stuff from squeeze tubes.
luckily he sees.
They used to call me squeeze tube in high school.
Yeah.
Luckily, kid sees where they went and tails them by getting onto the back of the trunk, which is kind of his move. Kid sees Dick taking a bribe, or so we think, but he throws it back into his face. The bribe that there is. So they're going to kill him, and that's the end. This is the end of the movie. Itchy and Flat Top get Dick Tracy into the basement of the Ghostbuster house, which is what this fucking room reminded me of so much.
Yeah.
They
But they also
the-
knew about the Ghostbusters before, which is how they knew how to
True.
overload the contraption
True.
that stores all the
they,
ghosts.
they overload the
They can steam them right up.
the ghost deposit unit or whatever it's called, and it's about to explode. But luckily, the credits don't roll. Kid comes in, saves Dick, and they escape. I wrote "dumb Dick" in capital letters there for some reason. They set up an explosion to make it look like an accident. That was the whole point.
Mhm.
And I love this because when they escape, the basement layer doesn't just explode. The fucking whole block explodes. The whole
Yeah.
building goes up. It's crazy.
To their credit, though, the explosion looks more concussive and
Yeah.
as if caused by
Not
steam.
fire.
I was like, well, yeah, I was saying, I hope there's no fire there. Yeah, because
There wasn't.
Like
Yeah, it looks
fucking
kind of
explosion.
like. Have you ever seen when like a basement blows up from like a meth lab on like a like sometimes
Oh
you'll see, like,
yeah,
those like security footages of like somebody's front porch or whatever, and like it turns out we had a meth lab on our street or whatever, and their whole house blows up. It's never a fireball. It's always like a
That's what Graham-
concussive blast.
yeah, like
That's what Graham was saying with the concussive blast versus like
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Or like
I'm just
yeah.
giving it. I'm giving actual reality to what this movie is putting forth.
meth
to us.
lab
which
contact.
Yeah.
I think points back to the movie for not just doing like a cool guy walks away from explosion moment.
He runs away and then he goes, he puts his hat back on and goes, "You're all right, kid." And he goes, "I think they were making meth down there. Do you feel weird right now? My teeth.
Jesse, we have to
Feel
go
great.
back. Let's go back.
All right, you hungry? I'm hungry. Let's get some pancakes, flapjacks."
Oh man. They give the certificate of heroics to the kid, and
Here.
the kid wants to be the name Kid forever. They're like, "Well, would you want to be Jonathan or Tony or Timmy?" And he's like, "No. What's wrong with the name of the kid?
What about Little
Big-
Dicky?
Yeah. I always wanted to be called Man.
Yeah, call me man, man."
Man.
You know, they call me kid now, but when I'm a little bit more grown up, call me man.
No,
Man
when I'm-
Dick.
When
How
I'm a
about
little grown up, call me Mr. Kid.
Call me Mr. Dick.
that? Mr. Dick. Oh no.
Named
Knock,
after
knock.
you,
Who's
Dad.
there? Mr. Dick. Oh God, I don't want to.
Do you think that's
No,
what he
no.
calls,
I'm
Dick Tracy
Jason. My
at the end of the
father
movie?
is Mr. Dick.
Yeah, Dick Dad.
Oh no.
Big Boy owns the DA. They tell him he can't get out until he's dead.
And he's like,
Breathless shows up at the office again, all sexy like. And if Breathless testifies,
I feel like we
which
already
she
talked about this
probably
scene.
won't.
This is
No,
where
they-
she's talking
she
about
comes
her,
back
her-
again.
yeah.
Yeah. She will
This is
die
also where
if
the
she
earring and the
testifies.
champagne happens. Yeah.
No, that was before. This is
No,
this is where
it
they
happens.
kiss. This is where they
No,
kiss and
They don't kiss.
No.
Right. No,
This
no,
is where
where-
this here
no,
is where
this
they
is where-
kiss. Tess catches them. She sees it from around the corner, and then she goes and she cries a bunch because she's a wuss and
And then he
can't
goes,
handle her.
"Is that pistachio? Oh, my
Yes.
favorite."
Yeah, she even brought him ice cream.
But also,
Look,
this is another moment where I'm like,
True.
this guy's definitely autistic. It's because like the kid is like he runs out the door and then he's licking the ice cream and then he does one of these like, and then he looks so confused about what to
Yeah.
do, and I'm like, Dick
It's
Tracy.
like I want that ice cream though. That's how
But
I
Dick
felt.
Tracy doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what to do because he's like, I know that I upset her, but I'm not entirely certain why. But I think I know why, but I don't know if I should go. This is. I think that maybe
these are
Warren
just
Beatty-
normal things that humans have to deal with.
Right.
Yeah, but no, but the
Stop
way that
pushing autism on the dick.
you know what? They used to call me autistic dick in high school, and I feel like I need to. I feel like I need to.
Autistic.
You no, they didn't
Autistic.
call you autistic dick. They were saying you autistic dick.
Oh. It's
No.
true, maybe.
When they go back and need things to cancel me for my presidential run, yep, I'm going to become president.
Of what?
This is going to be
It's
the
going to be
world, the
autistic.
universe. Autistic.
Well, you can always-
Autistic is good. Autistic is good.
Should
But
I write
autistic
that
dick is
down?
also good.
you, you can always.
So I've been told.
I just wrote down the word autistic. Listen. Hey, it's Mandy Patinkin, who was already introduced in this movie earlier, but I didn't know that it was him. But
It took me a
Faceless-
minute to realize that it was, like, you killed my father, you prepared to die. I'm like, oh, wait, is
From a
that?
certain angle, I thought he was John Hamm at first. I'm like, this is
like that timeline doesn't make any sense.
This is more like John Piglet, or what's like a young ham? Is there a young ham?
Yeah.
John Veal.
A young ham is any alive pig.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Wow, that one fucked me up.
This is a funny
young
episode,
ham.
guys.
A young ham is any alive dick.
We've all got a lot of
Nope,
zingers
it's not
here.
the quote.
I mean, this is what happens when you're dealing with a movie named Dick Tracy.
Uh-huh.
It's perfect.
If
It's
this
perfect.
movie was named like Cunt Tracy, we would never have gotten this.
We'd be
far.
like, all right, are we allowed to say this? Or...
C word Tracy.
Yeah.
Cunt Tracy. Jesus Christ.
I mean, I felt
There's a
weird
new
about saying
sentence.
Dick Van Dyke earlier. I was like, should we bleep this? Or
I should have got the bleep button for this just to add the additional comedy. Look, Blank Face gives him a letter to give to Big Boy. To Mandy
what's his real
Patinkin.
name? Oh, I thought you were
Uh,
bleeping it.
His name is Dummy or something. I don't know. I can't. What actually? That's a good point because
I think his name is
character
Keys.
becomes
They call him Keys because he's the piano man.
Keys.
Yeah.
Okay, because he's a piano man.
That might not be his name in the credits, but I
He's
heard them
fine.
call him
Yeah, man.
Keys a couple times. Yeah.
Tracy suits up to go on the caper. He goes to the casino where Breathless is singing. The police show up and they do a clever switch from casino to regular club. We see the woman literally turn over the fucking the things into cigarettes.
From chips to cigarettes or whatever.
Chips, thank you.
Yeah.
This is a bit that like I'm sure was probably in movies before Dick Tracy, but like I think about that episode of The Simpsons where like that guy comes in and he's like
Rex
"Arr,
Bennett.
what kind of Rex Bennett, yeah, like what kind of pets shop is full of hootenanny hooligans singing jazz music in the middle of the night? It's like the best damn pet store in town. All right, well, continue.
Don't know what you expect to find in a friendly neighborhood pet store.
And then
There's so many bowling balls filled with
it's
liquor.
like Barney Code. He's like, wow, there's like a whole lot of gears down there. That really
Those
hurt.
gears down there really hurt. Yeah.
They're just they're gonna search the joint, but they don't search this joint. They leave, and this is where we
It's
get a
fake.
montage.
They're just doing it so they can set up the listening device.
Right, but this is where we get the montage of the listening device of him going to a bunch of different places and them busting.
This
based
isn't
off
so
of
much
the
a
listening.
this isn't a montage. This is like a weirdly and poorly cut together sequence that is more confusing than it is informative as to what's going on. But it does.
But we do see Dick Tracy knock 7 guys out at the same time during this, which I thought was amazing. I
Oh,
wrote
no.
9.
Sorry,
but we learned
I was talking
scene from
about
earlier that it was 7.
I was talking about before that when like they're invading or whatever. And he's like that part is like it's sequentially shot, like, or it's edited together, but then like there's like one guy with like a gray wig running around, and you're like, are we supposed to know who the fuck this is? Like, why are they hiding who this is from us? And then the reveal is that it's his friend, and you're like, just show us that. Like, why did you need, like, it should have been him nervous. It would have been way more impactful if we were scared for him. Instead, we're like, who the fuck is this guy? We don't know what the heck's going on. This movie doesn't treat us like we're a member of the family in terms of the good guys' deeds at this point. Like, it's like we're like, oh, who's this mysterious gray-haired wig-wearing man? And then it just turns out that it's Patton or whatever, the fucking guy who like has been his friend the whole time. You're like, oh, come on.
Yeah. At this point, I was just thinking, all right, get on with it.
Yes, exactly.
Bug Bailey, which I think is the guy that you're talking about, is in the ceiling.
It's not. Patton and Bug Bailey are 2 different characters, but they could be the same person. Yeah,
we were talking about Bug earlier. Yeah,
Bug Bailey's in the ceiling telling Dick about everything and then he ends up spilling his coffee here, which I thought was a great scene. I really liked this moment because it tips off Big Boy, and because the jig is up, they do a thing where he's like, "Oh, there's somebody up there clearly." So that's how he knows that.
I personally believe
Dick knows that he's going to all these places. So let's give Dick some bad information.
I guarantee you that this is the moment in the movie when they decided to give Al Pacino the Oscar. When he's like, when he sees the shit dripping, he's like, I'm like, yeah, that's some good what the fuck's going on up there acting.
He didn't get the Oscar, right? Was he nominated?
He was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. He did not get it.
Okay.
He won for Scent of a Woman 2 years later, but
but he could smell it coming.
He could.
The scent was so strong. Ugh, a woman.
There is also a sort of a side here that's like Tess is also leaving Dick because he doesn't want to settle down. So while Dick Tracy is dealing with all this shit, the final call he gets to get pulled into a trap, which spoilers.
I think she also is leaving because she saw him making out with some fucking really hot woman.
That's
in
true.
His office.
Yeah.
Remember when he was like, "Is that pistachio? I don't know how to apologize because I'm pretty sure she saw."
I think that I have autism and I don't know how apologies work anyway.
Well, I'm not going to say that anymore because apparently no one else believes that Dick Tracy is the most autistic detective next to Batman.
I think that the kid is the only person in this movie that doesn't have autism.
I think you're right. Everyone else like really leaned into their thing.
You know, I got a really flat top of my head. I might as well be a bad guy.
Everyone in this movie has special interests except for the kid. His special interest is technically eating, but he is a street person. So
once
But
you
also
make it a
most people like
spectrum,
eating.
we're all on it.
right.
Oh wait, I do remember when I used to be like a camp counselor who would take care of kids with special needs, and there were kids that couldn't stop eating.
Uh-oh.
Like you had to like intervene. So maybe he does have special needs. We just don't know. When we eating? It's like you just ate like all day. What are you talking about? And he's like, I want to eat more.
I wrote that off as like he's fucking 9 years old and has been on the street.
He's a growing boy.
He's so filthy. He's got a tapeworm.
That's
true.
true. He's probably got
He
several.
got it from the tram.
One
You got it
pork
from-
chop in is it's like
Oh,
nothing.
maybe
There's
that's
no
what
satiation. He doesn't get any
Yeah.
nutrients.
Maybe that's the Dick Tracy sequel we need. Is like Warren Beatty comes back and the kid is there and they call him the tapeworm and he's like, bleh. He's got like all these worms that come out of him and it's like an eldritch horror or something.
I thought you were going towards like he's a competitive eater.
Oh yeah, he just
Like,
eats,
Not an eldritch horror, but
It's
instead
next in the background being like, "Yeah, you go, kid." And then
He's
it-
just
not
bad-
a-
he's
he's not
just
an
bad-
eldritch horror. He's an
68 hot
eldritch
dogs in a
eater.
row.
Yeah.
what's that guy's name? Badlands fucking stomach or whatever.
Heathland's stomach. Do you mean Joey Jaws Chestnut?
No, I don't mean Joey Chestnut. I mean Badlands. The guy that
Okay,
drinks.
I don't. I only
Sprite.
know the one guy.
Listen, I'm looking this up. I'm gonna look up Badlands competitive eater.
Let's see the Macho
Competitive.
Man of.
Competitive eater. His name is Badland. His name is Eric James Badlands Booker. Boom.
Hyphenated last
drinks-
name Badlands
Yeah.
Booker.
Yeah, he drinks.
Or was this his mother's
He can put
surname?
down a 2-liter Sprite, just chugging it.
They used to call me Badlands Hooker in high school, but I didn't know why, and it's because they used to find me on the escort part of town
Mm,
with my ass out, my tits
downtown.
waving. Okay, so
Yeah, it's-
let's move on.
Yeah, okay. They're giving Bug the dip or the whatever the fucking
The
shit's
bath.
called.
Yeah,
The
the
bath.
bath.
Thank you. Dick tricks Prune and Skull and No Face
Dick
intervenes.
tricks
by-
prune is a hard thing to say.
It's a chess
and I'll
move.
say that's a tricky sentence, like a tongue twister.
And I wrote Skull, but I meant eyebrow man, whatever his fucking name is. Dick tricks Prune and Brows and No Face.
Say that
intervene.
10 times fast. Am I right? Oh, wow.
I need to get the whole sentence up because it's not the whole.
Sounds like a
even the whole
Mad
sentence.
Lib.
There's
Dick
more.
tricks Prune and No Brows and No Face intervenes when Dick can't shoot his gun. Because there's that scene where he's like trying to shoot his gun, but he gets
Well,
the
because he's full of cement. Yeah.
cement on him when he pushes his pal out of the way.
Which is
Why
so
is
dumb.
Pacino-
Why the fuck did he
And-
get in there? He's like, all right, you're free. Now I'll take your place.
Now
Good,
he's just
good,
into it.
goddamn it. Just pull him out.
This next
Sacrificial bath.
scene, this next scene was the thing where Pacino's freaking out at a table about the situation. And this is where I'm like, oh, this is why he's nominated? Because of this sequence of him losing his shit in the most Pacino-y shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
But he's got a big
Um,
chin.
He does have a big
Didn't
chin
you
and a
see
weird
that?
nose.
And
He's got a big chin.
he's got weird bags and a nose.
Can you
that's
imagine
crazy.
the acting with this big chin?
Yeah, you can't imagine AI trying to recreate this. It would explode. It would
Chin
burn
dog.
down a whole
It
rainforest,
would.
probably.
Yeah.
It would burn down a whole rainforest, and that
They
would
couldn't.
be
They couldn't put the rainforest out because they ran out of water using the
because
the
they used up all
First
the
place,
water. making-
They ran out.
That's
And
the end.
the AI
It's
takes
not
over. You
even
ran
just-
out. You can't stop me now.
It's not even just AI blowing up. This ends the world because of all the things you guys.
And then we
just
get
said.
taken over by an AI Al Pacino that is doing this character. The big boy. Yeah. They were taken over by, like, years later, alien species will like scan our planet and be like, oh, this is the planet that was taken over by the AI called Big Boy. Apparently it was inspired by a Dick Tracy movie from the 1990s. Here's some footage. He's just like exploding every city.
above the surface of the earth, everything is just statues of Al Pacino as
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat your volcanoes. I'm gonna eat your clouds. I'm gonna eat everything.
we build monuments to him until we die.
This is kind of like that Warren Beatty video we watched before this movie started.
This is better than that.
This
This is
much
better.
less
I
boring.
would agree with that.
I think he would agree with that.
Here
too.
come the police to arrest you, though. 100%, full stop.
Oh,
For the
man.
first time, they're.
I mean, the
actually
police
coming.
did knock on my door yesterday, and they said you need to stop doing that Al Pacino impression, or we will arrest you.
We need you to stop doing that Al Pacino impression retroactively because I know you're going to go nuts with it tomorrow.
I know, but I said I'm doing an El Pacino impression. It's a Spanish version.
Oh, El Pacino. Hua, Lee. El Hua. That's a little bit funny. Tracy returns to learn that Tess has left.
Clip
We
it.
gotta break up.
Okay,
montage.
none of us speak Spanish.
Yeah.
Gotta make these songs worthwhile, I guess. Is this a sort of musical? I noticed that anytime there's a ridiculous montage, it's just a Madonna song playing from the album.
Yeah. shut it down.
Learning through paper headlines that Tracy needs a witness to indict Big Boy, Breathless reveals that she likes Dick. He resists and also admits that he could like her, maybe. She tells him she will testify if he admits that he wants her. Dick is a good guy, though. He actually pushes Breathless away. He's actually like, I do love Tess, so we can't do this. They don't even kiss again throughout the rest of the movie until her untimely demise. So it's weird because when I was a kid, I thought these two ended up together. So when I'm watching this movie today, I think that Tess dies the whole time. That's the only way that these two can end up together. Because
I would have stopped watching. I would have
Really?
shut down.
If Redhead Tess died,
Yeah.
right? I had a little burp in my little throat.
Yeah.
I had a
No,
little bit of a bubble here.
I don't like Breathless. I don't like her hussy trying to split those lovebirds up.
I fucking love her. I'd be like, goodbye, Madison. I'm going with Madonna now.
With Madonna.
My hall pass, and also
mean-
whatever the equivalent of a lifetime hall pass. And Madison, if you're listening right now, I'm sorry, but I'm leaving you for 1990s. I'm leaving you for 1990 Madonna.
You know she's not listening.
No, she's never listened to a second of this podcast. Let's be real.
Also, I didn't want to tell you this, Jason, but I've been tinkering with a device, and I let Madison use it earlier, and she said, "I'm going to take this and go back in time and marry 1990s Madonna." And I think it might have already. You might want to go check your bedroom. She might be gone. He goes, and there's like a ring of flaming bed sheets.
Well, first of all the books on the shelf back here are Madonna books, and I'm pretty sure she only wrote a couple. So it may have altered the timeline.
It was inspired
irreparably.
to
This goes deep. You should check your bookshelf. All your comic books might be Madonna comics.
Mine are the same, but
oh fuck. Graham, check quick. Is a Yoshi doll still behind you?
oh no, the Gears of War game changed though.
Wow, this copy of Parasite
Parasite
Eve
Eve for the PlayStation 1.
came out in Japan.
Is that the NTSC version or is that the JPE version?
Well, Japanese was still NTSC, but
Yeah,
yes, it was
I
a
know,
Japanese one.
I know.
This was for after. I'm going to show you my Japanese PlayStation 1 collection.
Well, I would love to look at it. I love you.
Yeah.
More orphanage discussion. No Face checking out Dick's home. Mandy gets a person that can recreate Dick's handwriting to get Tess to a place. No Face gets her. Also, Tess sends a note to Dick to meet at the greenhouse. It's a trap. The orphanage woman is there to get the kid as Dick is like distracted by all of this stuff happening.
Did we all think that this orphanage woman was a plant from the mobsters because the way she's shot and framed and everything about her?
No. I thought it was the most stereotypical 90s version of
I thought that she was like a fake. Like I thought that was going to be like a fake thing, and they're going to use the kid as well as like a because
I
like
can see where your head went with that, but the way that all of the stuff you just said, I took as that's the most stereotypical way that they do the person coming from the orphanage,
like
in
an
90s
evil
movies.
orphanage woman. Like
Yeah.
she's like It's a hard knock.
Yes. Life. Steady kicking. Beep, beep, boo.
I thought it was going to be
Look
like
at
a distraction, but I mean, you
It's
can't
the
have two
Itcher.
distractions.
It's
I
Itch
guess.
Man.
Unless
Dressed
it's a
in a
good
wig.
movie where you have two distractions, where one is your kidnapped girlfriend and one is your kidnapped kid that has been in this whole movie for no fucking reason, apparently, except to express your humanity because your character has no humanity at all. But
Well, he rides around on car trunks and saves the day a couple of times.
when does he save the day except for the basement?
In the scene coming up, well, he helps out with Big Boy, doesn't he?
No.
Oh. Well, anyway, the orphanage woman's there to get the kid. Also, Dick is getting zonked by gases. No face, blank, whatever. Oh, I don't.
Do you guys want me to do my voice again, where she's like, "Relax, it's you're suffering from hibernation sickness. Yate, yate."
I did like.
Oh,
I did like the
Carbonite's a hell of a
green.
drug.
yeah.
I did like the greenhouse bit because they did that forced perspective thing with the gas, but it didn't line up with the.
So okay, I know.
It didn't line up
You're
with the feeling, but
you're
it made
saying
sense.
forced perspective. It's not forced perspective. This is what they used to do. Is that okay? I'm going to explain it to you, Jason.
I
Sometimes I'm just
stopped
trying
talking.
to teach you.
I didn't say any more words because
you
I'm
tried
listening.
to. You tried to cut me off. After
I didn't.
Forced perspective is when they film two things at forced perspective and it makes it look different and bigger, right? These are different. This is a
Holy
different-
shit, that shoe is huge.
Exactly. This shoe is way too big. They forced the perspective to make me think that shoe is big. But what they're doing here is they're taking two shots and they're sort of blending them over one another. So you can get one in extreme detail and another in extreme detail, one far away, one close, and they blend the two frames over top of each other. Sometimes they'll literally just tape it together. If you look at really old movies, you can see tape lines, like that's when you see the shit moving. So like this is like I know you're talking about like the flowers in the foreground when he's like and she's like, you stinky bitch, you're falling asleep. Oh, okay. Well, Jason just doesn't care. Okay.
Well, he's a stinky bitch. So what do you
He
mean?
is a stinky bitch, isn't he? There he
I
goes.
care and I am here. But that
It's
wasn't
different than
forced.
forced
I was literally
perspective.
just listening.
I'm just trying to explain the difference. You know, like sometimes we have these conversations off camera, sometimes we have them on camera.
No, I know. I
But-
literally I stopped talking there because I wanted you.
But you can also see when
I appreciate
everything's
that.
when everything's blurry behind like his face when he's holding the walnuts, for example, and the doctor's in the background. He's like, "Did you get fingerprints off these walnuts?" And they're like, "No." And you can see the blur or whatever. It's different than forced perspective. But like, you know, like the Lord of the Rings movies when they use forced perspective in like a whole new way where they're like, we never even thought we could do this before. That's sort of a different version of this, where it's like it's two different shots overlaid on top of each other. Anyway, I just wanted to.
Then there was a big shootout. There's all kinds of guns.
Yeah.
Sorry to jump ahead. I just feel
I mean, that's a good. That is a good
we're
shootout.
approaching 3 hours here, and you
Yeah,
know
we
we don't
finished the
we're not all
We're
living
almost
on
done.
Eastern Standard Time with your
Right.
unlimited nights.
Look, I'm not allowed to bring up the time, but the guest absolutely is allowed to bring up the time. We get a scene of kid in the orphanage eating slop, a Dick imposter killing montage where
Dick Imposter was absolutely
Killing
my nickname
montage.
in high school.
they're gonna frame Dick. They murder.
What would that
Uh,
even entail?
They have Mandy Potemkin read some lines. The frame is in. They did it. Montage of Big Boy getting back in business, and ain't it grand? I love this scene because the song is great. So much money and crime.
The thing that
Kid
really
knows
sucks
Dick
is that
is
this is the
innocent.
third montage, I think, or the fourth montage in the movie.
It's the third or fourth montage.
And it is maybe the best montage, but like the fact that there are so many montages, I already have montage fatigue where I'm like, I can't see another one of these. Like, I know what the end result of this is. They're all going to have money at the end, right? When it's like back in business, and then you see like one bag of money get poured out, you're like, I get it.
Do you have your plug?
Oh, I'm not ready. I'm still not ready.
Well, you got the movie right though.
I know. I got nothing.
Okay, well. Goodbye.
Have a good show.
Bye.
Don't push your wife's head like that. You
It's funny.
Jason's Al Pacino. He's like, get out of here. Get out of here.
Hoo-ah.
All right. I have to whiz out my wiener, but I will say
Okay.
that this montage is the reason I hate it the most is because it's so
Yeah.
far in line of 10 other montages. And
Madison just asked from the bathroom, are they mad that you pushed me out of the frame?
yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, we are.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Steve's going to whiz out his wiener, and I'm going to push the plot of this movie forward. No Face has Tess.
Mhm.
Dick Tracy being moved to county prison, but his boys bust him out. Dick goes to Mumbles, and Dick, they do this thing that's really interesting, where Mumbles has been mumbling the whole movie, obviously, and they recorded him earlier, and that affected him. He's like, "You can't get me on tape doing this," but
Mhm.
but what we heard was, blah, 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 blah. But Dick Tracy's able to do this maneuver where he like slows the tape down by just like pushing on it slightly until it says
So
"Big
smart.
boy did it." But then at the end of the scene, this guy is just like, "Yes, I'm Dustin Hoffman, and I say that Big Boy did it and was the one doing it all along. I'm Dustin Hoffman."
Yeah, at this point in the movie, I just like, let's get to it.
Yeah, me too.
It's like, and I'm not saying that
Uh,
because of the time we're running right now, but yeah, despite the movie is really less than 2 hours. I think it's an hour and a half or something.
It's
like
an hour and 44 minutes, give or
with
take.
credits.
With
It still,
about 8
it still
minutes credit.
just feels too fucking long.
And maybe it's because
Wow.
there's several montages that go on for way too long, or maybe it's because they put those montages in there to make the long ass scenes in between feel like they needed to be shorter. I don't really know.
I think they put the montages in to make the songs for the Madonna album make sense, because
Oh,
it's
there-
the
there's
three
that.
big montages are just like her performing a song while things
Yeah.
are happening.
Absolutely. They need to perform it from beginning to end. You know, the song is this long, and so we need to make the
2 minutes
montage.
and 30 seconds.
The one thing that really bugs me about the montages, more than I can possibly explain to you guys, that would maybe make sense, is that like a lot of those seemed
I'll be
like
right back.
he doesn't even want to hear it. He doesn't even want to hear
I
it.
have
Oh God.
headphones on. I'm going to pee while you tell me all about it.
So when they're going through these montages, it is just a song, right? And it cuts between, you know, car chases and machine gun moments, but then a lot of it is like him bursting into a room and he's talking like and then like it'll be like a guy on the radio talking. And I'm like, what the fuck are they saying? Like, I would rather hear what they're saying than hear what Madonna is singing, because I want to know, even though I can tell what's happening because the montage is stuff happening, I still want to know what they're saying.
You're forced to be like, oh, I can't fucking read these lips.
Yeah, you're like, did he say fuck you, you prune-faced asshole? And I'm like, oh no, he called that guy an asshole face.
I'm missing important plot points because I can't read lips fast enough. Fuck.
The thing is that it's like I wouldn't care about that as much if it was like more actiony and like it was more about what's happening in the sequence than him just bursting in a room and being like for like 10 seconds of his mouth just yapping, where you're like, okay, well, why? What is this? And you realize that these montages were built around the song and not around the montage. The montage doesn't really matter. It's more about the song that matters. And it feels like you're watching like a shitty music video in the middle of a movie where you're like, I would rather hear what's going on with the radio guy being like, Dick Tracy, back again, back from the dead, blah, blah, blah. Like you want to hear those kind of moments to get you hyped about what's happening. And not about like, yeah, dun, 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 we're back again. It's like, yeah, we know you're back again, but I want to hear you screaming some stuff.
Yeah, that feels like something you couldn't have realized upon first watch of the movie, but given the time or just the separation from it, you can see like, oh, they're playing out the song.
They really are filling the song in, where it's like they probably had that montage in their mind of him like sucker punching people and like, you know, like when he uppercuts that guy and then turns around and sucker, that's cool, but they didn't have enough of that, and they're like, oh, I guess we'll just film all these other things.
And it's not like, and if there was like a score to go with that, then it would be
Like,
I also
much more
guarantee
exciting.
I guarantee you that they filmed those moments with the idea that they would be in the montage, but they filmed them with sound, with Dick Tracy coming in and being like, all right, cool it, fellas, we're gonna take you downtown. And like then they realized when they played the audio over top of Madonna singing, it like fucked with the vibe of like how everything felt. So like, just
I
get rid of
fully
the
agree
audio.
with all that, what you guys are saying, but I also think that there's a version of this movie that was intended to be a full musical, and that's why these like artifacts are left in the movie. Like these are artifacts from it being a musical.
I don't think they ever would have.
You know, they got Steven Sondheim on to do this, and then they were like, "You're just
He
gonna
made
do
4 songs.
But was that? Yeah, that wasn't like from the get go. He wasn't there at the first table read or something like that.
Well,
Yeah.
was there
Well,
ever a
I
table
don't
read for
know.
this, or they just go out there and
They're
do
like,
it?
Steven, what do you
I don't
think?
know. You
He's
know,
like, I don't know.
from inception, I don't think it was like planned. Of we got to get some of that song.
He's like, so this is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
This is the tale of Dickie Tracy.
So No Face calls the chief to say Dick has Tess at the Ritz Club or whatever. They interrogate Mumbles. Dick manipulates the tape to have his confession, which I already talked about a little bit. Mumbles, it turns out he can talk normally. Seems No Face is just an agent of chaos, which is what I that's my own
it's
editorialize.
like the Joker, I guess, or like,
yeah, he's kind of playing both sides. At one point I thought that he was going to right before he frames, I almost said Bond, Tracy. I thought
Tracy,
that he was
Dick Tracy.
Dick Bond.
Dick
name's
Bond
Dick
is what
Bond.
I've been trying to do with you for a long time, Jason. You just
I'm in. Right. Dick gets there and goes to the roof. Kid hitches a ride with the thief Brendan. Also, I noticed it's New Year's Eve. This is a New Year's movie.
Yeah, they kept saying Happy New Year at this point, where I was like, what? Okay, we get it. Like, you notice that they say it like 10 times in a row? It's almost like they're it feels like somebody watched this, like they sent it to like, they bring it to like a, what do they call it? A test audience or whatever. And like people are like, why are there fireworks at the end? It's like, well, it's New Year's Eve. How the fuck are we supposed to know that? And it's like, well,
okay, fine. We'll put fucking New Year's hats on every single
Shouldn't
person.
it
in every
be
scene
snowing
for
if
the
it's
last
New
10
Year's Eve?
minutes.
And it's like, well, in your part of the country, but like in a lot of the places, it doesn't snow on
Yeah.
New Year's Eve.
Exactly. They see Tess from the roof. Flat Top and Big Boy find her as well. They're kind of set up by all of this because Agent of Chaos.
Still weirdly into Flat Top, by the way. I'm still like, why is he so hot?
Tracy does a literal Batman drop through the glass. Police are showing up. Dick is doing something with the weight and his buddy Sam. And then we turn out that the weight thing that he's doing, I already talked about this earlier, but it's like a seesaw jump maneuver.
Listen, I knew what he was doing
Sam
immediately,
jumps
and I was
down.
like, because as soon as he starts breaking off the legs, I'm like, okay, what is he doing? And then he makes.
I had no fucking idea what
and
he was trying to do.
And then when he's like, how much do you weigh? I'm like, oh, he's gonna get him to jump on it. And I absolutely I love this almost as much as like there's an earlier line that we didn't say where he says to Tess, he's like, can you watch him? And then she says, watch him do what? Which again also made me be like, autism. Autistic. Watch him do what? But this moment,
actually the one downside of My Cousin Vinny I didn't like is every joke in that movie is sort of like a misunderstanding. I don't know how long it's been since he saw that, but anyway, I digress.
Like when do you mean when he's got his crazy accent and the judge is just like 2 Utes?
Yes, but no, the whole thing is predicated on them not explaining the situation to Ralph Macchio. And then eventually they're like, we're being put in jail for what? And the movie's been going on for a half hour.
Right.
Yeah. But thank you. A lot of the jokes in that movie are just because of a misunderstanding. Steven, sorry to cut you off. I'm singing.
So the reason that I thought this was very funny is because he's like, what's your weight? And he's like, I don't know, 190, 195. And then he's like, all right. And he's like, so which one is it? And he goes, 210. And then he's
210.
like shot of the notebook and he scratches out both numbers. And you're like, okay, that's funny. That's a funny little
joke.
gag.
Yeah.
And then he does like the you jump and I'll get shot through the window, which is, it's a fun gag, but at the same time, like that can't be your one Batman gimmick for like a movie where you're already trying to be a Batman character, right?
Batman Dickman falling through the window in the exact same way that Batman falls through a fucking skylight in every Batman movie. That's what I really glommed onto here. Before this,
Dickman?
You glommed onto Dickman, you
I
pervert.
glommed onto Dickman. I'm a pervert. Big Boy is trying to escape during all of this with Tess. The wait and see saw counter nonsense. He goes across the building and down.
I do like this during this whole part that he's like, we didn't kidnap you. I just want to make that clear. It wasn't us. Like he keeps over and over like telling her, like,
that's true.
He doesn't stop the entire time.
True.
Even like at the end of the movie,
He
when
ties Tess to that cog and he's like, this is all your fault.
Yeah.
I didn't
But
do
again,
it.
I didn't do this to you. It was everyone else except me.
That's a very funny, like it's almost like the opposite of the Joker, where the Joker is like, I'm doing this out of fun. He's like,
I'm doing this because I really feel like I need to, but I don't know why.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna do it anyway because I feel like I need to.
it's like the Joker doesn't understand why he's the Joker.
The Big Boy Caprice is if the Joker didn't understand why he's the Joker, but he has all the same characteristics.
Or like he knew the Jokery things that he had to do to become the Joker, but he's like,
I'm not fully willing to do these, but I'm gonna do them anyway. And then if anybody catches me, I can be like, it wasn't me. It was you.
I'm not doing
You
that.
did
I'm much more famous than the Joker. I do not do these sorts of things. I'm much more famous. Let's put that out there. Also, I didn't do this. I'm above this. I don't steal women. I don't kill. And it's like, okay, I guess based on your track record, I don't think you did any of those things.
I wonder if there's
And
ever,
then
like,
right after that, when Dick is up there, he's telling him like, oh, she's gonna get crushed up. She's got her pretty little face is gonna get all smashed. And
You hear that Karen? That Karen is being crushed just like her pretty skull will get crushed, and her little tiny ears and her beautiful red hair.
yes.
Well, right before that, though, I do like how actiony this movie gets. Because when he comes down off the roof, we get a massive shootout. He kills Itchy. He fucking kills
and
Flat Top,
Poochie
and Scratchy and Poochie. They're all dead.
On the way back to their home planet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Breathless wishes Tracy well and Dick on his final descent to save Tess.
This
Tess
is one of
and
those
Big
moments
Boy
that were
on a
like,
track.
if he ever wanted to make another Dick Tracy movie, he just blew away every single weird-faced villain that he had at his disposal. Maybe this is why Warren Beatty was like, I can't figure out how to make a new one because I killed everybody. What am I supposed to make a new weirdo?
No, Warren, you can get some new mutants.
No,
Yeah,
all the good ones
there's
have
gotta
been
be more
wrinkled
weird ideas
head,
for
wrinkled
faces.
head, I blew my way out of Blowface or whatever. They're all dead.
He's like, I'll do a movie. It's called Bulworth. That's my James Bond sequel. I got Maya the rapper. She'll look great in 2025.
Bullfinger sounds like a weird Dick Tracy villain.
Yeah, he's got a big finger and he points with it.
I also like when he's like,
I like Tracy. We had a meeting earlier,
and he's like, but he's like stuffing money in his pockets, but he's also stuffing money in all her pockets. And he's like,
come with me, come with me.
and he like takes her into the wine cellar or whatever, and he's like,
This is embarrassing and awkward and weird.
and then he like sticks that thing. And he's like hammering it in place. I'm like, this is maybe why he got the Oscar right here.
Right
The
before
nom.
Nod.
No, it's not a
Right
nod. It's a
before-
nom. A nom. He was nominated.
Oh, that's right.
right before all of this, there's a really cool scene where Dick Tracy turns and
The longer we do this, the more I think you're wearing a fez and not a pin.
I wish.
I thought it was a fez a couple times. So to my
Like you're about to be like, Indy, you old bandit.
I've been looking to make a statement, appropriate something here or there.
about
appropriating is
how justice, crime doesn't
Yep.
pay or whatever.
all of it. All of what you just said is the truth. Speaking of that, I do like it when James Bond, the star of this movie, turns and everything behind him explodes, and then he kills Flat Top.
Yeah, it's a good.
like that.
It's the lighting is really cool here. It is
Yeah.
very comic booky. This is something that you
Very
put
good
in.
action.
This is like a music video moment where everything is just exploding and like he looks cool. Everything looks pretty cool. And this guy, no concern about his own safety. All he knows is that this Tommy Good
He
and me are
bopped his
one
head
right
off
now,
a
and we're gonna
fucking
kill everybody.
lamppost.
This whole sequence has like the highest bullets per minute
Yeah,
of any movie going up to this point.
it's one of those movies that if you even for a moment question how much ammunition he has left, the movie just tells you to go fuck yourself. The movie's
Yeah,
like,
it's a
"Fuck
Tommy
you."
gun, so
Fuck
nobody
you.
knows how Tommy guns work.
Yeah.
I like that
Top
as
is basically just like a video game villain who's a
Yeah.
bullet sponge. He's in the
Yeah.
car. They shoot through the car like 1,000 times. Then he gets out and he's fine and takes another.
From what I know
Several
about
magazines.
Kojima, like the creator, like I'm surprised there isn't a flat top in like a Metal Gear Solid game or something. Like
but he's called Top Flat.
yeah, he's just got a big flat jaw, like
Mhm.
there's top flat.
Yeah,
Howard the
Could
Duck,
also
yeah.
be a Kojima
Howard
character.
the Dick. I want Kojima's Dick Tracy as a video game. Actually, now that I think about it, I had one of
yeah.
those moments where I went
Yeah.
to Synapse.
It's 200 hours long.
I think
and-
if you floated that to him, he'd probably cancel whatever he's doing and just be
It's
like,
a JRPG and
right.
also a farming sim and also a fucking. It's
And
still
also he
a
somehow gets
career
bored.
sim.
It'd be like a
and he would
leering
somehow-
and Madonna's tits simulator for one
Yeah,
level. It would
yeah.
just be like every time she turns around, you're using the controller to try to sneak peeks
Yeah.
because
But we
that's
also
Kojima, baby.
We also know that he would somehow get Warren Beatty
Yeah,
to
maybe.
get on board and be in it. Like Warren Beatty would be in the game.
Yeah.
Like full mocap and everything.
85-year-old.
He got George Miller to be in Death Stranding too. I think that he could convince
That's
Warren
a good
Beatty
point.
to- Yeah.
That's a good point. They make it to the bridge. There's fireworks. There's super bad ADR this whole time. I don't know if you guys have noticed Al Pacino's ADR throughout this movie and also this last sequence.
Well, this is also his best ADR though, when he's like,
they think I'm kidnapping you, which I didn't, but I am kidnapping you now. So let's go.
he's like just like
And I wrote a note here that says it's really dick time. Big Boy
Did
is
you guys,
ranting.
were you guys when you
in
guys
pu-
were watching this, did you notice the honk noises? Like that's
Yeah.
what's supposed to be telling you what's going on. Because
Didn't really take it that way.
the honk, like you hear the ship noise, and that's why Dick Tracy turns around, and then the whole time when he's like,
All right, so I'm not touching your breasts. I am touching your ass, but I'm not purposely touching any of it.
and they're like going down the little hallway, and you hear honk, honk. And that is what Dick Tracy is using to tell himself what to do.
I
That's
thought
how he
was
knew where to
looking
go.
at them running down there.
Running down where? In the underground tunnel that
He's
he can't get
standing
into?
here. They go through the tunnel and come out at the docks, and he just looks down and sees them running because that
That's
literally
not-
happens.
That's not what happens.
It is.
No, it's not.
Was that just for the audience to see where they're running? Because I'm pretty sure he just
You
looks
see-
over and
That's after he's already left the building and followed them for
oh,
an
okay.
extended
I
period
see
of
what you're
time.
saying. I see what you're saying now. Sorry.
The reason he turns around is he's trying to get through. Remember when he blocks the thing? He's like, "This is embarrassing," and he's like, and he like makes the wine rack thing unable. Whatever. Who gives a shit? It's fine. This movie's dumb.
You're right.
Yeah.
So
Like,
Big
trying
Boy
to
is
explain it,
rant.
I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Listen, I'll make it dumber. Big Boy is ranting in poetry and philosophy as he ties Tess to a clock cog. Dick makes it in. We get a final battle with Big Boy.
But I don't think we ever talked about this even once. The entire movie is that he keeps misquoting founding fathers and
Nietzsche.
philosophers.
Yes.
Yes.
He
The whole
loves
movie,
misquoting
Jefferson.
Nietzsche.
He's like Benjamin Franklin.
where he'll be like,
Lincoln.
like he'll just say stuff, but like,
Is he
he'll-
Michael Scott? Is this Michael Scott as a villain?
I think that this is the inspo for Michael Scott, which is also like Warren Beatty maybe was the king of the Dick or whatever, the King Dick. He's putting a timer on for 10 minutes. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, we can get out of here in 10 minutes. Well, we can't because we still need to do our other things. But we get the final battle with Big Boy. No Face shows up. No Face wants to run the city with Tracy and have Tracy kill Big Boy. Kid with the save, as I mentioned earlier. Big Boy shoots No Face, and bad mannequin falls into the darkness. The mannequin that falls into the darkness is comically bad, even by 1990 standards.
I don't know. I thought it was okay.
Yeah. It was on par with like Luke Skywalker at the end of Empire.
No Face was breathless all along. What a twist. They kiss. And I was like, what the fuck?
So this is the part where I was like,
oh, I understand.
So like I forgot like 100% of this movie all the way up until almost this point where I was like, he died? The bad guy died, but he's the bad guy. And then I was like, wait a minute. I'm pretty sure it's a twist. And then I'm like, oh, it's gonna be fucking Madonna. And then for some reason my brain would just like a lightning hit me in the back of the head. And I was like, it's Madonna, you dumbass. And I was like, oh right, yes. I forgot about
that.
And
a Madonna action
story was never resolved.
Yeah.
Realize it.
And it's so dumb, and it doesn't really make any sense at all. Like, why'd she do it? There's no incentive for her.
She just wanted Dick Tracy all to herself. That is the whole point of this entire movie.
Which is
she
gross.
Just met James Bond, Dick Tracy.
James Dickey, yeah.
Loved him the whole
Name's
time.
Dickey. James
wanted
Double O Dickey.
The Dick Man.
They call him
and did a whole crazy plot. Like there's so many times when like Dick Tracy goes to jail forever. Dick Tracy was about to go to jail forever, and if it hadn't been for his like friends,
well, she felt bad. Yeah. Also, she was trying to take down Big Boy, not Dick, and it was part of her plan to get him out.
It's an insane plan. It's a wild.
It's so stupid. It's dumb. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Look. Anyway, that's the end of the first part of the end of the movie. Then there's an epilogue where we find out that Dick Tracy can't actually ask Tess to marry him. He throws a fucking ring at her. They also, I guess,
I assume that's how you asked your wife to marry you, Jason. Is
just
that how
whipped
it works?
a fucking red box at her head.
You want to marry me or not? Also, I gotta go.
Yeah, I'm going exactly back to the thing that made it seem like I didn't want to marry you in the first place for the whole last 2 hours. But that is the end of this movie.
Now they have a child together, Dick Tracy Jr.
Yeah, that's his name. That's his legal given God name.
It is his legal name. He changed it to that.
Yeah, his goddamn name. Listen, I think that was a good explanation of this plot. I think that right now what we need to do. So, how many minutes you got left on your countdown?
7.
Yeah, we got 7 minutes to talk about our Home Alone of it all, our final thoughts, and our everything.
If you had to pick one,
what do you think the Home
Alone
of it all? The Home Alone of it all?
Can someone please tell me when the Home Alone?
I really gotta know.
When is the Home Alone of it all?
What is the Home Alone of it all?
Now that's the Home Alone of it all.
Oh yeah! Look at all those green suits.
I have that fucking thing where I can't scroll. You'll have to do the ending of this movie. But okay, Graham, the Home Alone of it all is the idea that every movie has its own Home Alone of it all. It comes from the movie Home Alone, where in the movie Home Alone, we're all there to see Kevin McAllister slap down the blueprint. And when he starts assassinating wet bandits, that's kind of what we're there to see. So every movie we've gleaned has a Home Alone.
You remember when Kevin McAllister says, "Smile, motherfucker," and he shoots Marv in the head with a sniper rifle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yippee-ki-yay, etc.
Yeah.
Yippee-ki-yay, bitch. That's the quote. So there's that element of it, but also we need your final thought on this film and also a rating if you have one.
Yeah,
I'm also going to leave and come back. I'll be right back.
God.
Definitely feels like a movie of its time. and one that really probably, if it was going to endure the test of time and have a legacy, those toys should have been more popular, I guess. Or that is to say, they spent so much on advertising, but this property, this IP, never really latched on to anything. Nobody ever says, oh, what do you,
or anyone really, yeah.
Cosplaying as Dick Tracy, I'm cosplaying as Prune Face. There's really no, like, what's the lasting legacy of this motherfucker? I don't know. But I mean, the most enjoyable parts of it, I guess, I mean, for me, the most enjoyable parts are just the freaks and I mean, I guess it's the whole production design. You get the freaks, you get the crazy matte paintings and
can you say freaks again?
Design freaks. Yeah, I really like the color scheme, the way they just try to use basically only those 4 colors, or at least have them being prominent all the time, even if it might not make sense if you just have this room full of gangsters and they're all wearing 4 different colors, but they're not necessarily the 4 colors that go together. They're not, but it just, I don't know.
And also some of them match each other across the table, and you're like, what the heck?
Like,
Are they together?
You're not part of the same group. You guys don't look at him. Don't look at the other purple guy. He's not your friend. He's my purple guy.
You're my friend, not his friend.
Yeah. So it's I mean, it's great to look at in a lot of ways. Too fucking long somehow, despite the fact that it's not actually that long. Yeah, they never really capitalized on whatever they hoped this would be.
They didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give it. And I wanted them to explain why these people were freaks, how they became freaks. If it's a comic, well, here's the other thing is that I from a YouTube video that I watched, they were talking about how prosthetically, like, Dick Tracy was supposed to also be enhanced at some,
like a big chin or something.
In the comic,
Yeah,
he does have
he's
a big,
supposed to have like a fucking very
like
square
Marv.
chin.
Remember Marv from that what's Sin City? Like the
just
square
like
face,
a comedically big old jaw. But then I think after, I don't know if they saw tests of it with him, they were just like, oh no, we can't do this.
Warren Beatty's like, I can't direct this while also wearing this.
I can't.
I will say there's a shadow. There's a shadow at one point where Dick Tracy looks exactly like you think Dick Tracy is supposed to look, like in a shadow. So they tried it, but sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, there's barely any more to interrupt. It's. I wasn't expecting to really go crazy over it, having never really had a positive impression on having seen it decades ago. But there was still a lot to like there. The part of me just wished they would have explained the freaks. Like, why are these guys freaky? Why are they not? Because if you see it, like I said, if you see it in a comic book and everybody's a freak, including Dick, then it kind of makes sense. But there you got all these normal looking people, and then all the bad guys are just inexplicably mutated. And I wanted that mutation origin story, I guess. So I'll give it 2.5 unrealized mutant dreams out of 5.
That's pretty good. Graham, please come back and be on this show so many times.
Yeah, you're the first person to say "dick freak" on this show, and that's what they used to call me in high school.
That's
you
what
had a lot of nicknames in high school.
I know, too many almost.
Yeah. Well, Steve, you know the drill. Tell us all about it.
Well, as I said before, this movie doesn't hold a lot of currency for me when I was a kid, other than the toys and the dreams that we thought we could have a Dick Tracy cartoon show. I'm pretty sure there were a few video games. I remember being in like the Blockbuster and being like, Dickie Tracy's got a video game, but I was like, I don't care. And I don't think I ever rented it, but I remember it existed. When it comes to what I care about and how I enjoy a movie, this movie is something that, like, it's almost like a toy box that I feel like was crafted carefully with a bunch of dolls in it, and they didn't actually like put the dolls in the right place. They kind of got shook up in the wrong way, if that makes any sense to you guys at all. I think it had a lot of love put into this first rendition, and there was so much love that could have been spread outward beyond it that is so disappointing. Yeah, I was not wrong. Yeah, I think that's probably a Sega Genesis. That looks like a Genesis game.
No, that's Super Nintendo. That's clearly
that's not Super Nintendo. That is not Super Nintendo.
I will fight you.
That looks like Sega Genesis to me. Anyway, so there
was an NES version as well. Sorry, go ahead.
All right, look up the NES version and see if that's the same vision that you just looked at. What was I going to say? Okay, so this movie, I would say, if you were a kid and you had fond memories of it, you probably will find some sort of chicken noodle nature to this movie, where when you watch it, you'll have a nostalgic connection or a value to it. But if you're an adult who's never seen it, you might appreciate it for the visual aesthetic, what they were trying to do when it comes to like an interesting way to tell a story between a hopeless and absolutely bereft of emotion man versus two women who both want to love him. I guess, I don't know, but like nothing there really worked.
Casanova.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, well, I'd rather go chase trains for both of you ladies. You mind if I go?
I'm like, we want to fuck. What are you talking about trains for?
I don't understand what you mean by fuck. But it's not bad. I mean, it's not great. It's not even good, I would say, but it's not bad. Like, I would watch it if you're into this aesthetic, and if you want to see something that feels like a Tim Burton movie that wasn't made by Tim Burton, but you know, you'll get the vibe. I am disappointed that it didn't spawn something that could be Beetlejuice adjacent or even anything adjacent. But you know, I guess this is the reason we have things like Sin City and the Shadow and even the Rocketeer kind of like vibes with this sort of energy. There's a lot of movies that seem or are based on 1930s comics that they tried to get out in the 90s and early 2000s that work with what this movie was trying to do, but this movie never went beyond its own means, which is weird because it made a lot of money. If I had to give it a rating, I'd give it fish lips. I'd say fish lips is exactly what I would rate this movie. You know, the guy at the beginning who's sucking on those oysters and he dies immediately? That's what this movie is. This movie is fish lips. It could have been a wrinkly forehead guy. It could have been a small face guy. It could have been flat top. Flat top is the highest. Fish lips is like maybe lower to okay. That's what I'm going to give it.
Maybe if we ever revisit this, we can do a ranking of the freaks.
Yeah.
A freak.
What if they really are just mutants and the dirty unspoken truth is that Dick Tracy is just a racist? What if this is all just a metaphor for
I'm
racism?
pretty sure that's exactly what Dick Tracy was at the beginning. It's like, you know,
but they're like all Italian, so like that's
I mean, you can be racist towards Italians.
Can you though?
Yeah, if you call them big, wrinkly, four-headed mosquito men who love being like,
I'm so itchy all the time,
or whatever, you know.
Holy shit!
I mean, to be fair, they do say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess my Home Alone of it all this week is literally just like, I don't know, like the whole movie. I don't really have a Home Alone of it all. I think it's literally like anytime they show a freaky lip man, or like a forehead man, or like a chin man, or like a fucking ear man, or like a burnt man, I guess.
Yeah.
All of the man.
Those were like a bunch of alts for the Wizard of Oz too. Is like Burnt Man and the Chin Man. It's like I've got no heart. I'm the Chin Man.
It's Burnt Danny. Madison's watching Damages right now, and the next show after Damages is Bloodline, and I'm like, you should watch Bloodline next and find out all about Ben Mendelsohn as Burnt Danny. Anyway, I digress. I think my final thoughts for this movie are just that, like, I enjoy this movie like to watch, but I don't take it too seriously. But it is a movie that like weirdly takes itself way too seriously, like in retrospect. Warren Beatty went on a weird trip with this thing. He was way too into a 1930s comic that really has no sway.
It taught him how to read.
It taught him how to read. It taught him how to read. And I guess Dick Tracy may predate Batman. So
yeah, by
Batman
like 7 or 8 years. Yeah.
Batman may be a ripoff of Dick Tracy, so Batman Returns is a ripoff of Dick Tracy, the movie. Nope, I'm not saying all of that is fact. I'm making jokes.
It's not fact.
It's just for fun. It's just for fun. But I had a good time watching it. It was interesting to like relive my childhood in a lot of ways. It was interesting to see where all the action figures came from. I don't think I ever watched this movie as a kid. I think even though I said all that stuff in my brief history, because this movie is so crazy. This movie is so fucking weird and has the best prosthetics, I think, ever, and the best cast ever, to the worst like movie and screenplay ever, to the best cinematography ever, to the worst pacing ever. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of goods and bads.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I give this a 4 out of 5, which I know is comically good, but I also have to give it all of that because of the pink roads. That's a reference to the bullshit that we watched earlier tonight. But I do think this is a 4 out of 5 because of how absurdly grandiose it is.
Grandiose?
Grandiose.
Yeah, what the fuck did you just say? Did you say grandiose?
Grandiose.
Grandiose, my friend. It's pronounced grandiose.
If I had to give this an actual rating, I'd give this a gangster named Movie, and his head is shaped like a big TV, and his little thing is that his head is too heavy because it's an old CRT, and he falls over a lot.
I thought you were gonna be like his name's Grandoise and he's a turtle man. He comes from the sea and he's like, I'm a Grandoise turtle over here.
You have to keep up with my jokes because that's why I say Grandoise.
Oh, I don't believe you for a second.
No, that's exactly why I said it like that.
Oh, I see.
At any rate, so this has been the show. We have to talk about plugs before we get out of here. I'm sorry, Graham.
Plugs.
That's okay.
All right, let me just plug this in right here and.
So I'll let you go first, Graham. Do you have anything that you need to plug this week?
Nope.
Nope. All right.
Well, thank you for coming on. You're welcome back every single time. I'd like to have you here every week. Thank you for coming on. We'll get it here real quick. But Steven, do you have anything that you would like to plug this? Do you have anything you would plug this week?
Yes, I will plug Darth Theorist and the Three-Eyed Theorist, 2 YouTube channels that I do the narration of. You may hear me saying things like, what if we do this week on this episode of this show that you're watching? And then you can hear it, and it's me being like, oh my god, I'm doing also the character voices in this the whole freaking time over here. That's my Game of Thrones voice. My other one is like, I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi. Time to fuck you up, motherfucker. I don't know if he says that in any episode, but
He says time to fuck in Obi-Wan, the TV show.
he says that in almost every episode that I write.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's what
I
he
do
says.
a lot of.
It's what's in my voicemails.
It's true, yeah. He does all of that and more in Darth Theorist and Three-Eyed Theorist. Also, we're doing more Stanland. It's I think it's pretty freaking funny, the stuff we're doing right now. Can I play a thing? Is it here? Oh,
Is it not there?
I don't think it's here. It's okay. We don't have to play it. Anyway, I'm editing a bunch of the episodes and I'm doing a bunch of the episodes. How about we get you to plug while I try and figure this out?
All right, cool. Well, somebody in the comments just asked, Steven, what's your t-shirt art, your art/site? Well, I'll tell you right now. If you go to Redbubble or if you go to TeePublic, you can get all of our t-shirts over there. We have Corporal Tunnel Syndrome, which is based off our James Bond month, the big book of British Bonds. We have the Howie Mandela effect, which is based off of a psychopathic line of comedy that we did. We've also got the Grimoire of Familiar Killers, which it speaks for itself, but the Grimoire of Familiar Killers are the gem in our crown, the trademark monthly thing that we do every spring in October. We just finished it up. We're moving on to new horrors. If you come back in the spring, we got the Eldritch Millennial. Speaking of horrors, we've got Jason Killade Voorhees, and of course the fan favorite above all is Twinkerbell. Now you can find all of that at if you look up Hey Did You See This One on TeePublic and Redbubble. No problem, Ike Eldon. I'd also like to let everybody know that Super Kicked is done for the year for me being an announcer there. I think they have a show coming on the 13th of December at Super Kick Studios, but this is not set in stone. But I am the announcer for Super Kicked Wrestling here in Toronto. And I would like to actually promote this very podcast. It comes out every single week on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Twitch primarily. Through the end of the year, we're going to be finishing out this month. We have some surprises for December as well. And then into January, we're going to be deciding what the new director that we cover is. So look out for all of that. Steven, did you get your
I did.
video?
So I don't know if I'm allowed to show this, but I'm going to show it anyway. So within the world of Zingia, there are fake commercials for things that don't exist, and I'm going to play one now. And if I get in trouble, then you know what? John Hamm can come eat my ass, and I'd pay for the privilege. So here we go.
From Rimplepool Media Conglomerates Incorporated LLC, it's The Living Room with me, Barkbeard, a reclining chair.
And me, Wide Roots, a coffee table.
We used to be talking trees of the merry fun forest before the axe came down. Uh-oh.
Now, we're part of a living room set. Living room set say heyo.
Heyo. We invite famous Zingians over to have a seat and chit-chat.
Like in our most recent ep.
Excuse me, I'm Thud, the Troll Prince. Is this the living room? I'm here for an interview.
Welcome. I normally tell people to have a seat, but we hadn't accounted for your size.
A seat would be wonderful. So tired. Thank you.
No! Wait!
Oh, so sorry. I'm getting up now.
Watch it! You're backing into...
No!
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Join us for the living room from Rimplepool Media.
So that's one commercial.
That's great. Was that Rhea Seahorn in that sketch there?
I don't know who it was. You'll have
Anyway,
to tune in to find out.
Rhea Seahorn is in the actual Stanland show. I want to also promote, and I know I'm not part of it, but Pluribus is going to be the next shit. It's so fucking good 2 episodes in, and it's so well written and so well cinematography that I can't I'm addicted to it from 2 episodes. This comes out tomorrow night And Rhea Seehorn is part of Stanland, and Rhea Seehorn was on Better Call Saul. So, Pluribus, yes. Hi, Keldon. This is what I'm talking about.
Vince Gilligan can't go wrong. Vince Gilligan can't go wrong.
Vince Gilligan might be the best to ever do it. I would say X-Files to fucking Breaking Bad to Better Call Saul to the Smooth thing.
All right, I got one more thing to play. I'm sorry.
Keep in mind, we are live.
Okay, I won't play I played the wrong thing just then. I didn't mean to.
Keep in mind.
Oh my god, too many. Hold on. Teaser, Zingia teaser. I think this is the right one. Oh my god, there's too much stuff. There's too many noises on our thing. Hold on. That's what I just played. Okay, never mind. I won't do it.
Well, at the end of this here where we are at now, there's just one question that needs to be asked each and every week. Graham, could you ask us for it right now?
I wanted to do some kind of a old-timey thing, but I got nothing.
Oh wait, I did find it. Sorry.
I should have spoken sooner.
Yeah, you shouldn't have done your werewolf voice. Hold on.
Coming to you from WSUS Raleigh, I'm Casey Bingham. As regular listeners of this feed know, we at Getting to the Bottom of It recently stumbled on what is no doubt the most important discovery in the entire history of broadcasting. I'm of course talking about the sound files we found in a Leapfrog children's digital recorder that once belonged to Earthman Stan Little.
From Rimberpaw Media Conglomerates Incorporated, LLC, it's Zingia Now!
The files on this recorder represent an attempt at a homegrown Zingian podcasting movement.
Listeners of this show know that I'm taking a sabbatical from that position as I tally forth with a veritable bouillabaisse of media interests.
You say you are on sabbatical, but that is a falsehood. You are on administrative leave while the charges of financial wrongdoing against you wind their way through Zingia's revamped legal system.
Was it fate that brought these recordings to us? I only ask because fate is something of a theme in the next few episodes.
What exactly are you saying, Rumples?
I'm saying that gnomes live in underground chambers and tunnels.
How hard can it be to pull a sword out of soap?
Talking swords are the leading cause of autism in dryads.
I push a multi-level marketing scheme on anyone who would listen. Granted, none of them were dumb enough to sign on, but still.
But for now, let's sit back and enjoy our next selection in the Lost Podcast series, Zingia Now, hosted by a certain middle-aged con man, or con elf, listeners of Stanland will surely recognize.
I play a vampire.
This podcast has been brought to you by the Sonar Network.
Sonar!
Does this look like I have no eyes?
No. It looks like your hat is lower.
We know where your eyes are.
Yeah, we know where your eyes are at. Anyway.
Okay. Well,
so what did you want to say, Prune Tracy?
I'm Prune Tracy.
There's just one question. There's one question that needs to be asked each and every week.
Hey, did y'all see that one?
Now, I think there should be a good joke that happens because we had to listen to that end joke that was also good. So this joke needs to be better.
Boner alert.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? and take a peek into the darkness with Heard Noise, Must Investigate with Michael Chan. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.
I wanted to see if you think this is too much.
Yeah, sure. What's it for?
My great aunt's 108th birthday, but she's got a bit of a heart condition.